Who here lives here, by the way? Who here lives in New York? All right. I am not from here. I moved here, and I grew up in Louisiana, which, you know, do y'all remember the first time that y'all had to hardcore ignore a person here? You know what I'm talking about? Where you're just like, I cannot engage with this individual. No good can come of it. Because I remember, I grew up in Louisiana, very like hospitable place, taught to be very polite. I moved here from Chicago, even more Midwest, nice and everything. So I moved to the city unprepared. I showed up making eye contact. I was over here smiling in people's face like, hey, how's it going? Just every day. It took me 3 weeks to ignore my first person, all right? That's too long. Living in New York is a boxing lesson you have to teach yourself. You know, just after a couple weeks, I was like, all right, tuck the chin, shoulders out, make a Philly shell. Stay ready. I'll never forget it. The first person that I ever had to ignore in New York, I was on the train, and this guy was asking me for change. And when he approached me, he had one ball out. That's a rough approach, all right? Because I'm not gonna lie, one ball out, I don't even recognize it right away. Like that, as someone with balls, if I don't see the whole package, I'm like, that's alien. He walked up looking like a monster. I was like, I wish I had a gun right now. That's insane. I was so upset. And he walked out, so then I was looking at my phone, right? And the worst part is that I'm sitting down and he's standing up. So the ball is in my peripheral, all right? It's right there. There's no escaping. And it's just, he too close for me to look harder at my phone. It's like the top right of my vision is fucked right now, okay? And so I can't look away. There's no looking away. And he's talking, he's like, come on, man. I know you hear me, man. And then I'm just like, no, just ignore him and he'll go away. It just look at your phone harder and he'll move on, right? And then he starts getting upset. He's like, come on, I know you hear me, man. But the more upset he gets, the more animated he gets. And the more animated he gets, the more he's moving. So now the ball is bouncing. The ball is bouncing up and down. This man is dribbling in my face. And I'm just looking at my phone, and I'm just like, just ignore him. He'll go away. And this is the thing. I didn't cry. I did not cry. I just didn't not cry. Like, I did start to tear up eventually, and my vision got blurred. Because this is the thing. There's no science behind what I'm saying. I'm just telling you what I saw when I saw it out of the corner of my eye. I didn't want to see it. So it's not even like something I'm trying to relate. It just, every time he bounced, it felt like the ball got longer. And I was... That's just so like so then I'm tearing up, and then he still is getting madder and madder. He's like, hey, you can't just sit there. I'm a human being. You can't just ignore me, dog. And he's like bouncing around. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie. He yelled at me for so many stops. I genuinely started to pray. And that's not a prayer you think you'll have to pray in a place that's not prison. You know what I mean? Like, I was just sitting there like, I don't know, I don't deserve this, Lord. I've been a good and faithful servant. All right, this is crazy right now. And then he was like, you know what, screw you, man, I'm done with this. And he goes to turn around, but he's still clearly upset. He's still very mad. And so then, even as he turns around, he's like, and another thing. And then the ball swung. And I was like, sir, you're going to need to kill one of us, all right? Unacceptable. It does feel weird. I don't know if y'all feel this way, but it feels like nothing is actually viral anymore. Like, there's not a shared experience as much on the internet anymore. Like, you'll see something that interests you and it has 2 million views, and then you go to talk to people about it and no one has seen it. Isn't that crazy? Like, your internet is tailored so much to you, so deeply, that it's just your whole experience, which is what, 2 million is a lot of views. That means either a lot of people watched it or some very passionate people watched it a lot of times. I'll tell you my favorite video, because I'm sure you haven't seen it. It's only got 2 million views. So, my favorite video this week is a white woman in it. Probably my favorite white woman of the week as well, because she walks in to this police station with a gun, all right? already very good, right? Already gripping. So then she walks in with the gun, and it must be late because there's no cops around, right? But then there's this receptionist like desk and glass, and she just starts beating on the glass with the gun, just beating on the glass nonstop, okay? And then I guess a cop finally comes towards the glass, and she's like, bam, bam, right? And then he moves out of the way, and then she's just walking around, and she's got the gun. I should point something out. The whole clip, she's holding the gun like this. Like it's the wildest gun position I've ever seen. No wonder she didn't hit anybody, because it's just like this the whole time. And she's walking back and forth with the gun like this. Every once in a while she like, bam, bam. And then my favorite part is she sits down and crosses her legs, puts the gun down, pulls out what I think is a thermos, takes a couple glugs, puts it back down, gets up with the gun, bam, 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 and then, police tase her and tackle her, and it's all settled. Now, the reason that I'm so obsessed with this video is that there's no sound. So I don't know what she's yelling about. I don't know what any of this is about. I don't know what was said or anything. So then I had to insert it for myself. The video has 2 million views, and I think I am 1.9 million of those views. I think I've not been able to stop watching, because this is my thing. White women are so helpful, especially to the police. So I feel like she just walked in and was like, hello? I found a gun. I found this gun outside, and is anyone here? Hello? Hello? I can't, I'm trying to return it. Is that my gun? And the cop walked up and she was like, bam! Oh no! Because he startled her and she had a gun, and just like a cop when he gets startled and he shoots. And so they're just like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it. Oh my God, this is so stressful. Oh my God, I love rosé. Anyway, does anyone want this gun? And then they tase her and they tackle her. And then even as they're picking her back up, she's like, it's not even my gun. You guys should be more responsible.
You weren't kidding.
No, I'm not kidding. Dude, yes. When your phones get out of jail, you need to watch this video. I'm not even kidding right now. If we could only put it up. It's genuinely insane. I'm so glad you looked it up right now, because some of y'all are looking at me like, a white woman would never walk into a police station with a gun. Yeah, no, I'm telling you exactly what happened. This is crazy. And she walks in, she's like, hello, bam, bam, bam. Thank you for looking it up. This is like, some of y'all just, wow. You looked me in my eye like, I know a lie when I hear one. I will, okay. You know what's actually crazy? I thought about this weekend. You know what I've never done at all in my life? I had to really think about it. Never once in my life have I Googled Jada Pinkett Smith. So why do I know so much? Why do any of us know so much? Isn't that crazy? I've never even Googled Jada and Will. I've never sought any of this information. I know so much about them, it feels like we're related. It's devastating. I don't know if y'all saw the most recent interview. She's given her 1,000th. And in it, she says that she says so many things. First of all, she said that she sold crack when she lived in Baltimore, which is believable. That's a very entry-level job in Baltimore. That part I was like, and? But then she also said her and Will have been separated for 7 years. Which, what? She also said that Tupac is her soulmate. It's like she's going out of her way to hurt Will's feelings now. This is really insane. Tupac is your soulmate. You've been married for decades. My soulmate's a guy from the 90s. And the more I think about it, And the more I listen to Jada talk, the more that I'm convinced that Tupac died to get away from her. Like, I feel like... Easily. They dated for a while, you know what I mean? And then he got a taste of what Will has lived with. And then he was in Vegas and he got into it with some dudes on some gang shit and stuff like that. And they shot at him and he thought about what life would be like with Jada. And so he just leaned into the bullet. She said they haven't been together. Her and Will have not been together since 2016, which does make the slap more confusing now. That's right, because like that, they haven't lived together since 2016. Now it feels less like you were defending your wife and more like you just wanted to hit Chris Rock. Like, turn that man to a tambourine for no reason. That's insane. It really is. Like, what? Not even defending your wife at this point. You were defending your neighbor, I guess. Haven't lived together since 2016. It also makes the entanglement more confusing now. Watching Will and Jada is just like the Black Inception. You know what I mean? It's just a nightmare and a nightmare and a nightmare. There's twists that nobody asked for. What? Entanglement. Because then, this is my thing. If they weren't together, why'd they have that whole talk acting like they were together? It made them look worse. Why did they do that? It made her look like a cheater and him look like a cuck, but then they weren't together. So what's the big deal now? I mean, the big deal is that she fucked her son's friend, which is... A lot of people don't know that. That was Jaden's friend. So Jaden over there waiting for play dates and stuff. Ain't nobody showing up like it's a Brazzers video. It's so chaotic. No, it's just very chaotic. And look, I want to be fair for a second. I do want to be fair. Everyone comes for Jada and everybody shits on Jada so hard. And I get it. It's easy because she won't stop talking. But like, some of this is on Will. We can all agree about some of this is genuinely on Will. People blame Jada for the slap. That's not her fault. That's a grown man. And he got up there and he slapped another grown man. You can't blame her for that. It's not like she used her powers. And people blame a lot of the marriage stuff on just Jada. Will is also married to Jada. You know what I mean? He could get a divorce if he wants to, but he doesn't want to. He does not want, and if you pay attention to the interviews, he said it. Divorce is not an option. He'd rather them live as single people and still be married than to get a divorce. Which is weird. It is weird. I understand. For a long time, they were the symbol of black love, especially in Hollywood, right? And that's a symbol that he carefully curated that maybe she didn't want to be a part of, but it's one of the reasons he can't let it go, because it's a failure that he will not accept, right? But to just live as two single people but still be married is weird. It's very odd. Who is it for? It's not for them. They're not together. It's not for us, because now she aired it out. Everybody knows. It's not for the kids, because they're already weird. So who is this for? And like, I mean, it must be rough. I do get it. I have empathy for both of them genuinely, because I think Will, you know, came on strong, wants to make it work and everything, and Jada was just not having it. And a part of me, you know, I'm wrapping up, but just a part of me, a part of me gets it. Because if it's not the life that she wanted, it shouldn't be the life she accepted. That's fair. You're an adult in the world and you make your own decisions and you need to live by them, right? But also, to be fair to her, I don't have a gorgeous millionaire trying to fuck me and marry me. I don't know. It probably seems pretty hard to turn down. I'm not gonna lie. Like if Zendaya walked in here right now and y'all look like you're together, if she told you, bro, if she was like, I want to marry you and be with you for the rest of my life, you'd probably be like, look, I'm in a happy relationship and I found my happiness. I hope you find yours. I'm not saying it'd be easy to say to her. You probably say it after I do, but but y'all have been great. Thank you so much. I'm Josh Johnson. Have a good one.
You ready for your headliner? Yeah. I want y'all to put your hands together for Josh Johnson.
A while back, I got invited to a friend's house, and he had cooked for me and some of his other friends. And when I say cooked, I mean like he went all out. You know, it was about 6 of us all together, right? But this is like multi-course, 5 hours of preparation, been cooking all day type thing. So by the time we get there, there's a whole spread across the table. There's stuff that he's pulling out of the oven. And we were touched that our friend wanted to do this for us, right? Took his own money, used the skills that he had to make good food, to have a good experience, have a good meal with us, right? And so, you know, we sit down. And we sort of like half plated already, you know, when we sit down. And as soon as we get ready to eat, I guess he didn't pay his light bill because as soon as we get ready to leave, the lights go out, right? And we were, when I say we were ready to eat, I'm talking about napkin in and everything, chair all brought up and stuff. And then the lights pop off, right? And then he doesn't mention it at all, right? I'm scooping my chair up and the lights go out and he don't even go, ooh, like nothing. He just, y'all, let's eat. And it is pitch black, okay? And in my head, I'm like, why? How often does this happen that you're not gonna say anything at all? Not acknowledge it one bit. And so then, like, I'm sitting in the dark and I'm looking around. I can't see anybody, but I'm looking around. You know the way you try to meet eyes when something wild happens and everything. And then after like a couple seconds, he was like, wait. I'm waiting to hear why. Maybe it's a breaker issue. Maybe it's just, you know, the block or something like that. And he's like, wait. Let's say grace. To be fair, when I say grace, I bow my head and close my eyes anyway, but it's different when the darkness is not your choice, right? There's something about saying grace in the dark that's genuinely menacing, okay? Because it's a prayer over your meal, but if it's pitch black and you hear somebody else go, Lord, please bless this food for the nourishment of our bodies, you're like, this one doesn't sound right. I don't like that. And it must happen a lot because not only does he not address it, but he is going with his fork and knife, and he's the only one out of us that's got any rhythm going with the plate, okay? Because he chose the right friends to do this in front of, because he doesn't mention it, so we don't want to mention it because we don't want to feel rude, you know? We out here treating broke like a country, like I wouldn't want to offend his culture, you know what I'm saying? Like, if eating in the dark is part of his customs, let's go ahead and acquiesce. And so we're all in the dark, and I could have sworn I knew how to use a fork and knife. I was positive, because I've been doing it my entire life. But it's not until you're in the dark that you realize, at least me, I have no idea where my mouth is, because we already had some peas and carrots and some mashed potatoes on the plate, right? But like I said, this is all like Thanksgiving style and everything, all family style, so a lot of the dishes are in other containers on the table. So I'm just trying to start with what I have. So then I go to scoop up some mashed potatoes, and then I stab myself in the cheek, right? So and he had done a good job with the mashed potatoes because they were nice and buttery, which meant I couldn't tell if I was bleeding or not, because it was just, because I had hit it hard. I got two prongs in the mouth and 2 prongs on the cheek, but I'm like, that got me good. I need to slow down, right? Because you're not really thinking about how fast your hand is moving when you try to eat. So then I'm like, let me go ahead and attack the peas. But the peas,
I can't find my spoon, right? So the peas are gonna have to go with this fork, and they are slipping. I'm imagining they're going right off the plate. And so I'm trying to stab for some peas, but everybody can hear me just clinking, just hitting plate, right? And finally, I feel a little thunk. That's a carrot. So then I lift up slowly. I bite a carrot. It's hard because he didn't actually cook everything well, just the mashed potatoes. So now I'm eating bad food in the dark, right? Because every time I do get a bite of something, the food is still hot because he did a good job of plating, right? So there was a little bit of chicken, little chicken thigh that was already on the plate and stuff. So I cut that up a little bit, put the chicken in my mouth. But now I didn't realize how hot it would be because I couldn't see steam, right? So now I have burned my tongue in the moment, and I'm doing that. And I'm not the only one, because he is the only one hitting any of this with rhythm. Yeah, I mean, like his fork, you can tell his fork slicing where it's supposed to slice, that he's scooping where he's supposed to scoop and everything. And everybody else, I'm assuming, is just making noise, because there are some, I don't hear any chewing. So I feel like the person next to me was just like, because the meat was tough, right? And so then, like I said, it was like Thanksgiving family style and stuff. So then our host pops up and is like, I forgot some of the cranberry sauce. Let me go up and get it. And for as adept, okay, he gets up and all we hear is, ow. I'm back. And so I know that I'm making an attempt to eat. I'm doing my best, right? But then apparently someone else is, because from the other side of the table, I can hear someone, because once again, it's family style. I hear somebody, hey, sheepishly, hey, you don't need to whisper, it's just dark. Hey, real quick, okay. Sorry. Can somebody pass the green beans? And so then the person who thought they had the green beans starts feeling for the container, right? So now we hear them plopping along the table and everything. And then they finally grab it, and then they from over here, who wanted it again? And instead just saying their name, they're like, over here. So then we had to get the green beans across the table, Marco Polo style. And I could feel people passing it past me, but I didn't want to be involved, right? I didn't want to have anything to do with this whatsoever. And so then I can see, no, I can't see anything, but like I can tell that the person to my left is trying to reach for it from the person from my right. And so I'm like, I don't need to help, I just need to lean back. But because they can't see, they lean forward and just grab my face. And then they're like, is this it? I'm like, no, it's not. And so I push their hand forward. They actually grab, I'm assuming, the casserole platter. And then I think they dropped it a little bit, because then I feel a hot splash, right? So I get a hot splash, boom, right on the face. And I'm just like, oh. They get the green beans over to that side of the table. Turns out it was yams, okay? So, and when you go to take what you think is gonna be green beans and it's yams, it's a texture you'll never forget, right? No one was ready. And so once I get like hot splash, because it was whatever it was, it burned a little. I was ready to go, and it had been some time, you know what I mean? Like, most meals only take, 15, 20 minutes to really eat until you get full anyway, and it had been however long it had been, I don't know. And so I'm ready to go, but I don't want to be the first one. So then I'm not good at it, but I try to throw my voice. A little bit like,
Well, this has been so great.
And obviously everybody felt the same way because then as soon as I scoop my chair to get back, everybody else get ready to get up, right? And so we all start getting up and we thank him for cooking and everything. And then we feel our way for the door. And as soon as we open the door, a bunch of hallway light spills in. I'm like, why didn't we just... This was wholly unnecessary. And so I go to leave, and as I'm leaving, I pass a mirror in his lobby, which is the first look I get of my face. I haven't looked like this after I've eaten since I was a baby, all right? Because I got mashed potatoes here. I knew about those, right? But then I got a little bit of like chicken right here, just a couple of strands of chicken. And then this was gravy. So I got splashed with hot gravy coming down my face. That's why I vet people now. Like now when people offer to have me over and cook, I ask some of their friends, I'm like, hey, have you been over there before? Are they a good cook? Do the lights stay on? Things that you just need to know before you go.
You know it's a really, really beautiful thing? Black women are having an incredible summer. This is phenomenal, right? Like just in the Olympics, Lauren Scruggs is the first black woman to win an individual medal in fencing. And not only do I just love seeing black people succeed, I love seeing black people succeed at stuff I didn't know we did. So if you don't know what fencing is, because I didn't know. It's basically when people cosplay Bridgerton, all right? Okay, so it's a mix of stuff. So like, you know when people go in a padded cell, right? They do that, but they wear the cell, okay? So they go ahead and wrap themselves in like a padded cell and stuff, and then they get that stance, right? They get that long stance, and then they got their little sword is thin, and then they sort of try to musketeers each other until one of them get the most points, right? I still haven't figured out why they always do it. To me, it would just make more sense to have it and be like, ah! Like that seems like you really get some points just really coming at somebody, right? And I thought, as I thought about it more and as I learned more about the sport, which I still don't know very much, I thought to myself, man, I probably could have been pretty good at fencing if I had applied myself, because I grew up in the South with black grandma. So I'm used to the sound of... Because my grandma and I had this thing, right? Like if I was really acting up, if I was bad enough, right? She would tell me, go outside. There's a dead bush, and go ahead and pick your switch. And if you don't know what picking a switch is, if you were born after Child Protective Services, picking your switch was a form, after you've been acting up and go out there and pick your switch, it was a form of psychological torture, because you would get out there and then you trying to pick the switch most likely to break. Because you're like, all right, let me see. I'll let her get 3 good licks in, but then it'll snap and she'll be like, let bygones be bygones, right? And so you go out there, and I would go out there, I'd be testing them. I'd be like, that one got too much bend to it. Let me guess. And so then you bring your switch back to your grandma, and then she go to pop it a couple times, and just out of reflex, you start, whoo, whoo.
It's hot, right? I think if my grandma had whooped me just a few more times, I really could have been a medalist in fencing. Like, I could have been like... And then, Lauren is amazing, but you also have Simone Biles. The most decorated gymnast of all time. She won again today. I thought they were done. She won with the vault. A lot of people are amazed at how high, how elegantly, just the way that she moves through the air, the strength that she has, the grace in her movements and stuff like that. And some people are surprised at how high she can go and all that stuff. I'm not at all. I'm surprised that she comes back down to earth. Because I saw just a picture of her doing the vault, and when she flew, I was like, y'all, she gone. She going to space. Incredible. Like, Simone will get me so hyped up. I remember the first time I saw her. First time I ever saw her perform at all in one of her events. And I got so hyped, I tried to do a cartwheel. That's what I can't stand with people that are good at stuff. They make it look easy, and then you do it, and then you almost snap your whole spine. Because she did some routine where she was like, boom, 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 and she was just everywhere and nowhere at the same time. She was flying, she was coming down, and then she got done, and I was like, ooh, that's so cool. And then my back hit the wall. I just started sliding down. Even outside of Olympics, you got Kamala Harris. Joe Biden steps aside, Kamala takes up the mantle. She is a presidential candidate and everything. And, you know, when she enters the race, she's actually polling slightly higher than Biden was, right? Really like giving Trump a run for his money to a certain degree. Like she's polling a little bit higher. And then in the time since, she's been polling, ticking up and everything. And there's just been so many instances of like let's say she's on camera or something. This happened a few days ago. She was walking up the stairs already. An improvement, right? She was walking up the stairs to the plane that was waiting for her, and a reporter yelled, right? A reporter was like, oh, I'm like trying to answer, you know, get her to answer a question. And she turned, because she heard him, she turned. She turned because she heard him, right? And then he's like, have you picked a VP yet? And she went, no, not yet. And then she keeps walking up. Now, this may not be a big deal to some, but if you are a Democrat, it's a lot more multitasking than we've been used to in a long time. She can walk, she can hear, and she can talk at the same time. That's wild. I'm not saying it's new, but it's been a minute. And just when it felt like her campaign couldn't get any more momentum, Trump went to the National Association of Black Journalists. And I want to say something real quick, and I really want you to hear me when I say this, all right? For real. Please, right? Please hear me when I say this. I think that it's important, no matter who you are, because other countries are better at doing this than we are sometimes. No matter who you are, I think it's important for someone to go where most people oppose them and express their ideas. I think it's important because it's important for us to have discussions that are real. A discussion where the person who believes the thing said the thing to you, and you're not hearing it secondhand from someone you already agree with. Part of why we are the way we are right now is that people don't really want to listen to someone that they are diametrically opposed to. They want to hear from someone they already like, but someone you already like tends to believe what you believe. So then we're playing telephone with each other's ideas sometimes, right? And so I do think that it was good what he did. He went to a place where he was not gonna be lauded over, was not gonna be like babied with what he's trying to say. He went to a place where he was opposed. I think it's good what he did. He just shouldn't have done this. Do you see what I mean? You know what I mean? Because he went to the National Association of Black Journalists, and this is my thing. A lot of people didn't really talk about this, but they were opposed within the group if he should come or not. There were some people that were like, we shouldn't platform him. I can't believe y'all are even inviting him. And then there were other people that said, hey, look, this is a presidential candidate. We need to hear out whatever it is he has to say because he could potentially become the president. So you had both those ideas bouncing back off of each other, bumping heads. And then you had me. I was in a very particular camp, which was... let them cook. Because, you know, this dude rolls up and pretty early on, I say first 3 minutes, this dude said she was Indian and then one day she just turned black. He said turned black. And I was like, Donnie, what else you got? That's a little while later, he hit it. He hit it. I didn't know if it would come up again. I've been waiting. He hit it. He was like, the immigrants are coming and they are taking the black jobs. I've been wondering what a black job was since the debate because he said at the debate and nobody called him on it. Nobody caught it or anything. Black jobs. And then one of the women up there, because it was 3 women interviewing him. 3 black journalists were interviewing him. And one was like, sir, what is a black job? And then he was like, a job anybody could have. You know, and look, I don't know Kamala. I don't know anybody on her campaign or anything, but I know that they had to be watching. They had to be watching that the way that we watch Powerball. Just sitting there like, say turn black again. Say turn black, say turn black. One more time, please, please, please. Turn black, turn black. I'll be happy with a Negro. Can we get a Negro? Turn black or Negro, please.
San Antonio, Texas, please make it loud for Josh Johnson!
If I'm truly being honest with y'all, one thing I've not been able to stop thinking about is the tariffs. It's like is all I can think about because all I read about, because it seemed like everybody is like, oh, this is bad. I know people who do not watch the news at all that are like, why is everything red? Did everybody change logos or something? Every time I turn on TV, everything red. What is that?
My TV bleeding, something going on. No, in case you have not been aware, in case you're trying to protect yourself and go about your day, there's been a bit of a trade war going on. The wildest thing about a trade war is that you are allowed to okay. I was trying to put this in perspective. Okay, you know how when you were on the playground and somebody would be like, my dad can beat up your dad. And you were like, oh, you think your dad can beat up my dad? It's like, yeah, I think my dad can beat up your dad. And then, kid one over here is like, yeah, well, my dad goes to CrossFit. And, kid two is like, yeah, well, my dad has been to jail. Sort of the CrossFit of life. So I bet you my dad can beat up your dad. And then, other kid, CrossFit kid, dad is like, my dad, he has swords. He has swords, so you can try to beat him up, but he'll chop your dad up. And then kid two is like, well, my dad has guns. That's actually why he had to go to the CrossFit of life. It's because he has lots of those. A couple swords too, but he prefers to bring the guns when he has issues. And then, CrossFit, sword, dad, kid is like, yeah, well, my dad is 6'5", so he could definitely beat up your dad. And then, gun, jail. Kid is like, oh, my dad is 5'2", so he has quite a chip on his shoulder, so your dad will be dying, all right? And that's kind of what a trade war is like. You know what I mean? It's like nothing has to happen at the moment, but it is a lot of being behind the desk like, I bet you my economy can beat up your economy. And yeah, we know that Trump loves tariffs because even in his first term, he had a lot of tariffs on China for steel and everything. And he campaigned on tariffs and what he thought tariffs would do, at least what he says that they'll do for the U.S. economy in the long run. And so we know that he is serious about the tariffs. I think there were definitely some people that thought that he wasn't serious about the tariffs, and that was a mistake because he was very serious about the tariffs. He was so serious about the tariffs that apparently, now look, I'm gonna do my best here. I am both paraphrasing for the sake of brevity and going off of things that I've read and things that I've been told, and I am not an economist, so I'll do my best job, but I'm telling you, I'm gonna be wrong, okay? But I'm gonna be as close to right as possible on purpose. But apparently this man loves tariffs so much that right when he took office, there were economists, conservative Trump voting Republican economists who, while leaning right, still understand the economy. They still, that's not a dig. I'm saying that the two things can exist together. I'm saying that they understand the economy and they vote the way they vote, but they know the numbers, is what I'm saying. Because I'm not an economist. They understand the economists, kind of. So they immediately went to work coming up with tariff plans so that way, whenever Trump wanted to enact his tariffs, they would have the numbers ready, right? And so they did all the math and they did all the going back and forth and did all the figuring out that could be figured, And then they went to Trump and he wasn't happy with the plan, apparently, because in order to enact the tariffs the way that he wants, the numbers, a lot of them at least, were quite small. So then Trump, paraphrasing, but he was like, what is this 1.7? What's this 2.8, these 2.3, this 0.8? No, we need big numbers. We need to impress the people. You gonna send me out there and embarrass me in front of America? I need big numbers. Get me some big numbers, which apparently is why when he walked out with that poster board, you know that... You saw the board. You know that board that... You saw that poster board. It looked like homework, right? Like that poster board. Yeah, poster board out, and he was going down the line, right? He was going down and just naming places like 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, little bit of jelly donut, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, a little bit of chicken grease. That was not 100, that was a 10, 10, 10, 10, 94. You know, because he hit the world with 10% tariffs. If you were anywhere on earth, you could get this 10. Please don't think you can't get this 10 just because you uninhabited. Anybody can get it. Anybody can get it. Please believe me when I tell you. Anybody can get it. All right? You think you cute because you just got some little aminals on your little island? You still getting it. All right? We don't care. This is America. We do what we do when we feel like it. 10, 10, 10, 34, 10, 10, 10, 10, 78, 10, 10, 10. And it was perplexing. The economists didn't understand it. Top Republicans didn't understand it. Even the people that were in support of Trump and his tariffs couldn't tell you that they really understood it. No one really understood it because there wasn't too much to understand. Everybody who does numbers was like, ooh, this is not numbers. This is not the numbers that I thought it was when I thought They were on like CNBC, basically any money channel, any money news channel. When these tariffs went out, they were on there cursing live. They were like, fine us, we don't care. We're all gonna die. You think I care about $10,000? I'll throw you another couple. The dude who does the bleeps must have had money in the market because he was gone. They were up there cursing live. I couldn't believe it. Normally, you'd even see the blurry mouth. I saw them enunciate the swear words. I was like, okay. This might be bad then. If the people who do money all day are upset and they looking at the red and everything look upside down on the graphs, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to go up like this. Yeah, I mean, you getting a little low. Dow. That Dow Jones was not playing. That Dow Jones was like, hey. I'm dead, y'all. No. Yeah, that S&P 500 was down to 5. It was bad. It's like these were rough moments we were in, and nobody really understood why. We lost $3 trillion of value in the market in a day. People were showing me pictures of the stock market and the S&P and the Dow, and then their portfolio, and I was like, man, we got to pick a different color, because that much red ain't good for your eyes. But yeah, apparently, there were economists that tried to figure out something that would do what Trump said they wanted to do, but he was like, no, I need to go out to the people and really make a statement, and I need to make a statement for the other nations so they take this thing seriously. So, 10, give me some 34s, give me some 55s, I'll take anything, just bring it all to me. And they were like, sir, that isn't math. That may not work, but Trump was so dead set on going to other countries like, you get a tariff, you get a tariff, you get a tariff, like an opposite Oprah, like a reverse Oprah. You get a tariff, you cry and take that tariff, right? And now this part, I hope is not true. I'm repeating it because I've read it like in 5 different places. It's been told to me 3 different times, but apparently he sort of sent away the plan that the actual economist wrote up, and then he asked someone else to draw up a plan that would do the tariffs truly bigly, right? Like we really making a statement. And in doing that, they did apparently, I don't want this to be true because it means we're all doomed, but apparently they did ask ChatGPT what to do with which I don't know. I feel like even when they typed that in to ChatGPT, Chat was like, "You sure, dog?" Like, which is a fitting bit of irony, though. It is kind of funny to me that like ChatGPT wrote up a formula that was then applied that then tanked the stock of the company that owns ChatGPT. Like it's a beautiful little closed loop. But ChatGPT went ahead and did its thing. You know, they asked him, "Hey, how can we tariff the whole world and not have everybody die?" And ChatGPT was like, "I don't know about the die part, but I will get you a little formula real quick," and it went vrrr, and then it dropped this formula, and that's the same formula that they've been showing. Now this formula, it does have all the components of like a math equation. It's got the parentheses in there, it's got some X and some Y, has a little cursive, it has that little squiggly thing for when you divide it, I think. It has everything that you've ever like looked at a meme about confusion that was coming at you, it's in there. It's all that stuff. All that beautiful mind drawing stuff is what's in the thing. It's got some tops, it's got some bottoms. It's got some other like little symbols rubbing together and everything. But apparently when plugging in any type of numbers into this equation, they still got the math wrong. So no matter if this thing came from ChatGPT or if it came from some mathematic genius, when applied, it was still applied wrong because the tariffs more went towards the tariff amounts more went to trying to reciprocate the amount of money with countries that we had a deficit with than the actual like reciprocal tariff, if that makes sense. Like we applied that thing as if, oh, they're just tariffing us this much, so we're gonna tariff them the same amount. But rather than actually doing that, we were like, here is some math just to make everybody confused real quick, and then we'll actually go ahead and slap a tariff on them for their deficit or for their surplus, which also does not make any sense because then we're both punishing people who buy a lot from us and punishing the people we sell to off the things that we sold them to make things for us, right? So it's basically like being in a bad marriage where like it's like being in a bad marriage where it's like, well, I don't know why you hate me. You married me. Like, I don't I'm just over here being your husband. I don't really get why you so mad at me right now. Ooh, you hate me, but you married me. Anyway. And so that is partially where we landed, which is distressing. You know, that first day, these tariffs get applied, the markets react and everything, and $3 trillion of value is just gone, sort of wiped out in the moment. And then the next day, it was worse, because the next day they were like, oh, we still doing it? Because we can get redder. We can get, oh, we haven't even broke out all the red in the crayon box yet. We can keep getting red. And then there was like another $6 trillion loss, like over time. But like we were at $6 trillion, I think, by like that Friday at 4 p.m. or something. And then we lost money over the weekend, which I didn't even think was possible. I thought the whole point of the market closing was to close. Don't keep counting. That doesn't feel fair to me, to keep counting even though we closed and now I owe more than I owed before. That's not fair at all. But then when Japan opened up and Japan was plunging about 8% on their market, and then our futures were also our futures, you know the future, you know the thing you're supposed to look forward to, that was also looking bleak for us. And then our market opened and the market was like, no, we still dying, dog. I'm not pretending
I'm not gonna pretend to know math. You know what I mean? I've met math. I've been affected by math, for sure. Math rules everything around me, yes. But when I tell you that the reason I don't want to hold like public office, I don't want to do any of that stuff, is because I don't want my math to affect anybody else, because I'm bad at it. I'm bad at math. The only time that my math affects other people's lives is when it's my turn to pay at dinner. And that is a bummer for everyone. That is, you can feel it. Okay. When it's my turn to pay for the check and I'm trying to, in my head, out loud, figure out the tip to then add I gotta divide to do the tip, and then I gotta add the number I just divided and then put that together and put that on the total on the merchant copy, all right? We're all up to speed. We've all been to a restaurant. But watching me do that it instantly feels like when the teacher would make you read in class, but you knew a big word was coming up. You had been trying to sound out this word while the teacher was talking about some other stuff, because you had already counted the paragraphs. The teacher making everybody go one paragraph for paragraph for paragraph, and you like, okay, I'm sitting here, which means I'm 8 paragraphs away. That's my word. Oh no! And so then you trying to sound out the word in your head, but you can't sound out in your head. So you're like, maybe I'm not even sounding out right now because my head is quiet. And then they get to you and it's your turn to read, and you're like reading all good, killing it. You even sounding out the commas. You know what I mean? You see that comma and you go, pause. And then you finally hit that big word and you like, all right. Are you old enough now you don't want to sound like you sounded out, because everybody will think you can't read even though you read half the paragraph with no problem? You did mic drops on those periods. Anytime there was a period in a sentence, you were like, this good textbook right here. Yeah, what do y'all know about this English lesson, this Chaucer, okay? And then you finally get to the word and you're like, that's a cough. That was a cough. That wasn't even me reading just now. That's and the teacher goes, scrumptious. I was getting to it. I was getting to it. I was just trying to enjoy the word. I was trying to chew on the word. You the one getting all impatient and stuff. You trying to teach us patience. You're not even patient. That's me. Like, at least the closest I come to ruining everybody's life with math is when it's my turn to pay at dinner and I'm trying to factor out loud the tip, and I'm hearing me try to do math in my head, hearing a grown man say carry the is not gonna inspire confidence in my abilities, right? If I'm sitting there with the, okay, and then you got the two right there, all right.
anytime I gotta do math without a calculator or a pencil, it's a whole conversation. I'm literally sitting there like, all right, so, I'm gonna do 25% because she was killing it, all right? So 25%, that's even better because it's also a quarter. Now I just gotta break this down into 4 parts and then put that line there, right? So now all I gotta do is get you to be still, be still, be still, be still. Stop it. I'm telling a 6 to stop it out loud at the table. Stop moving, all right? So now we gonna carry the 3, and if that 6 will be still, I think we at 9. No, that's up. That's not even division. That's more. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna put a 4 here, and that 4 gonna slide up and trip that 5. Gonna kick the legs up under that 5. And then that's a 1. Why couldn't this be an even number? Why couldn't somebody just order the guacamole like I said? That would have got us closer. Okay, so 7 and 3, that's 10 anyway. So that's 10. So now we know we're gonna have a 2 in there. I know y'all want to go. All right? Get in the car then. Get in the car. I'll follow. Yeah. And then I get embarrassed. And so I just write the total twice. And then I'm like, at least if I tip 100%, nobody could be mad at me. But then I'm sitting there like, can I really afford this? Because then I got to get in the car and do the math in my head of my account. I'm like, all right, so we eating on Sunday, all right? Tomorrow is a business day. It's not going to go through till tomorrow. So if I add a 20 to the account, ooh, I'm overdrafting hard. Oh, I don't know what the number is, but I know that fee gonna hit. We're in a bad way. One of the biggest problems that I think is facing Americans and the country is that we don't have a sort of cohesive identity of care for each other. So, for instance, something could happen to a large swath of Americans, and there'd be other Americans that are like, all right, good, I don't care, whatever. And I'm not saying any country is perfect, and I know that some of the countries I'm mentioning have at least a little bit of a homogeny to them and everything, but whether you're Portuguese, you're Spanish, you're Italian, you're Brazilian, you're Mexican, when something happens and it happens to your countrymen, you see it as happening to your countrymen because they're all in a country together. They're all like in this thing together. I'm not saying there's not poor and rich and they don't have some of the same problems that we have. I'm not saying that factions haven't split people more than ever before, especially with the internet. I'm just saying that like they can look at a person they don't know and be like, that is my countryman, right? And we haven't had something like that for a long time. There are whole parts of the country that if you put them in a room together, we assume they would fight. We assume that it would come to blows almost immediately, just off of like, hey, do you want to pass the salt? Like, just like not even a political thing, just, it would just happen eventually, you know? And I thought that the connective tissue that we had as a country would put us together cohesively was at least like capital. I thought it was at least money. I thought that money would be at least the one thing that made us go, all right, we should all stop and figure this thing out right now. If it's not money, I don't know what it is. Like visiting another country and seeing it doesn't have to be this way is crazy. I'm surprised that's what we're not allowed to. I'm surprised we're allowed to still travel. Because if you go anywhere else on like planet Earth, and I'm not talking about every place, I'm just saying, there are places that you look around and you'll be like, y'all don't just punch people in the face for being broke? Y'all don't just... Wow, all right, crazy. Going to another country that's like functioning and seeing how they operate is like going to a functional family's house for dinner. Like, it's just... You're just sitting there astonished. You're like, everybody here? Everybody sitting at the table together? All right. Got mom, got dad, got kids, and invited me over as a guest, and y'all just all smiling. As the dad, you're just sitting there. You're sitting there asking your kids about their day. Their day at school. What are you doing, dude? What are you doing? You should be abandoning all of them right now. You should be abandoning all of them. You should be going to Vegas and putting it all on black, and then you win. You actually win. You doubled your net worth in a day, and then you put it all on red because you had a feeling, and then you lost it all, and then you're sitting in this casino's cafeteria where there's very nice food, but somehow it's still like a disgusting cafeteria, and you've got these crab legs and these lobster tails in front of you, but you're wondering what you're going to do after tonight because there's nowhere to go because you left home. That's what you should be doing. Not asking your kids, how was school? Like, and then the mom sitting here. Mom sitting here, help dad cook the meal. They cooked it together as a family unit. You know, they didn't just fall into general norms. You know, they figured out that he bakes good and she makes great chicken. So she made the chicken, he baked some bread and everything. And it's all on the table together. They're watching their children eat it for the nourishment of their bodies. Food that they bought through the work that they do. They both work jobs. You have to be a 2-income household now. It can't just be one person working. And so they worked really hard and they bought that food and they cooked that food to the best of their ability. And now it's going to feed their children and give them good nourishment for their bodies. And they don't resent those kids at all. And that's crazy. Like, why aren't you looking at these kids like they ruined everything? Why aren't you telling them what you did before they were born? Like as a dad, you should be telling them, I used to dunk. All right? I used to have a sick vertical. And then, you know, you came along and I was trying to put your car seat in the car and close the door too fast and slam my knee. I'll never jump again, but enjoy your baked goods. Like, that's the type of dad that you should be. Just over here smiling at them, watching them enjoy your bread. Oh, Dad, it's so good. And as the mom, you're over here working a job, cooking as well, and not resenting anyone here. You did a great job cooking. Rosemary chicken, it's delicious. Succulent, not dry at all. How'd you manage that? How'd you manage not to dry it out? The rosemary's perfectly on there, and you shouldn't be here. You should be cheating. You should be cheating to give your kids something to fight against, okay? You want to make your kid a star athlete, you go out there right now and you cheat. You break up this family so that the only solace they can find is baseball, and then they just hit dinger after dinger every game because they're hitting their trauma. And then one day a scout from a good college, a college they couldn't possibly afford because it's not a 2-income household anymore. One of those colleges comes to scout this kid, and they're like, man, that kid's got talent. And we have to get him on this school's team, full ride. He goes from that full ride to AAA minor into the majors. And then one day they're interviewing him at the end of a game where he's hit the dinger that won them the World Series. And he's like, hey, I don't know where, I'm sorry, I'm getting so emotional. I don't know where my mom and dad are, but just know that I love you and I hope you're watching. And I did this for you, okay? I did this for you. I love you so much. You should be doing that instead of just helping them with their homework. And the kids are like sitting there, well behaved, which is crazy. It's crazy. They're not hitting each other at all. They're not trying to put a fork in the other's temple at all. They're just sitting there enjoying like mom and dad's cooking and everything, laughing at each other's jokes. Hey, I have a joke. Everyone cares. Like, it's insane. You're sitting at a table as a family in America. This should not be happening, all right? You know, as the son, you should be sitting there yelling at your dad, "Give me back my skateboard or I'll kill you." Like, that's more our speed, you know? And that's what it feels like to just go to another country and watch them go to the hospital when they need to go to the hospital. Like, that's, you know what I mean? Just watch social safety nets happen and have just like a general care for citizens and stuff. That's what that feels like when it happens. One of the things that makes it so bad is that we have this attitude because of the strength of the dollar and because it is the base of like the world's currency. Everyone compares their currency to the dollar, the strength of their currency, the strength of the dollar, and people would like to be paid in dollars, at least for now. And there's an attitude that we have as Americans that it has to be that way. That we don't know any other way, so it must stay that way. So it really doesn't matter what we do, but it does. It does. All of that belief, all of that standard, with us as a standard, is confidence. And if your partners lose confidence in you, it's not going to be good for you. If your confidence is waning because of moves that have been made and unpredictability, then people will try to figure something else out. That's a little terrifying. You know, I'm not an economist. I don't know how all of it works. I just know that you can only really bully the whole world for so long. Do you know what I mean? There was a flight a couple years ago where on this flight, this dude on the flight stands up mid-flight and is talking wild and reckless. This dude stands up and he's like, "I'm gonna kill everybody in here, okay? All right, you're all gonna die. Do you understand me? Every single one of you is gonna bleed and die." And he's making all these weird movements and he is freaking people out, and people are stuck in their seats. They're like paused in their seats. There's only one person who's like taking a little bit of cell phone footage of this dude because nobody knows what this dude is gonna do, and he's getting up so confident and he's so scared because I guess he's like a bigger dude as well, and he's like, no, y'all are all gonna die. He's clearly having like some sort of mental episode, but at the same time nobody can know how serious he is or like what his problem is or anything, and people are frozen in their seats, right? And he's like, "I'm gonna kill every single one of you. You're all gonna die. I'm gonna crash this plane." And then he tries to get into the cockpit as well. He can't get into the cockpit because that's locked. And finally, this dude goes into, I think it's his back pocket, right? And everybody's expecting a knife, a gun, and this dude has a spoon. And when everyone realized that all he had was a spoon, talking this reckless, they whooped his ass. There was plenty of cell phone footage of that. They were whooping this dude. I know they don't do it on flights anymore because people have allergies, but back in the day, they used to have peanuts on flights. And every once in a while, somebody would open the peanut packet too hard, and the peanuts would go everywhere. They go over the tray table, but then they go in the aisle, and they bounce all down the aisle because the plane was still getting some altitude and everything. And he kind of looked like that peanut. They were passing him around, beating his ass. They were really tossing him back and forth. And then he still had the spoon. Was like, wait. Man, that cracked me up. Wait! They made that man sound like tennis in there. That man, he was using the spoon a little bit. He was like, meh. And people were like, all right, fingers and eyes. There were other people who never got the chance to beat his ass that just watched it with their phones, and you could see them just with the eyes going, ooh. and then they restrained him, and then they landed. Cops got on the plane like, damn. I thought we were whooping ass. Man, this man tied down to his seat with seatbelts and duct tape and still got the spoon. And then, in the midst of all this turmoil, all this red, Trump tweeted, or, great time to buy. That's the most unserious thing I've ever heard in my life. Honestly, look. Admit it for a second to yourself. You don't have to say it out loud, but just know in your heart, if this was any other country, you would be laughing your ass off at that. That is very, very, very funny. That is so inappropriate and so funny at the same time. It's basically like somebody driving the car towards your car accident going, wee! And then, because we don't have a serious system, because we're not doing things the way that maybe anybody should do them. Somebody from Trump's administration, I'm pretty sure his cabinet, and I don't want to say the wrong name, but just know that they're in his circle. They went on, maybe it was CNBC, it was one of the major news networks, and they were asked by the anchor, do you think there's any possibility that all these tariffs, all this stuff going out is really just to raise the alarm bells, and that there's a possibility of a sort of 90-day situation, just like with Canada and Mexico? And then that guy said, yeah, the president's going to decide what he wants to decide. He's going to do what he wants to do. But then, off of that, you heard me when I said, yeah, the president's going to decide what he's going to do, Yeah, just off that noise, that noise right there. Yeah. Someone clipped that and tweeted the yeah. And then they said that there was about to be a 90-day pause. And then the market went up $3 trillion because we are not really here, I guess. Like, that's one of the craziest things I've ever heard. I knew money wasn't real before, but I didn't know. That's a noise. He didn't even give it a full yeah. $3 trillion from right? And then it went back down again because the White House came out and was like, we never said that. And so it dropped all the way back. And then like 2 days later, Trump reversed the 2 days later, he was like, yeah. He reversed the tariffs, and then the market shot up like $3 trillion again. I'm starting to think the market only understands $3 trillion. And I'm not saying I knew it would happen. If I did, I would have made a lot of money, like some of those people that are potentially going to be investigated because they had calls on the market for 2,000%, and then they very rich. Trump even pointed one out. He was like, that guy made $9 billion whatever he said. And yeah, I'm just saying, I didn't expect it. I did not expect there to be a ton of follow through in that. I'm just saying that when he said, I'm not saying I believe everything he says. I'm saying I thought he believed what he said when he said it. I thought, look, I'm not saying I believe when he says the thing, I don't know if I believe it. But when anyone says what they say, you would think that they would know if they believe it or don't believe it because they said it, because they're alone in there with their head to say it or not say it, and then to know if they're lying or not lying. But then I was not in his head, so I'm like, I don't know, right? But I thought he would know whether or not he meant what he said anytime he speaks, just for himself, not for us. I understand. The man can lie, but this in your head just for you is where I don't think you should be able to fool yourself. I don't think you should be able to trick yourself that way. If you said it, you alone in your head in your room of one should know what you mean when you say it. And I know that doesn't make sense, but it makes as much sense as the tariffs because it is in his head by himself. So, all right. Yeah. That was the thing. That was the thing. And then he, reversed the tariffs on a bunch of countries, except he increased the tariffs on China because they had increased the tariffs on us in the wake of that thing happening. So then it was really just my dad can beat up your dad. I didn't forget you from before, so just know that my dad can beat up your dad. And then China was like, you don't look. China made a statement early into the little tariff trade war where they were like, if the U.S. wants a trade war or any other type of war, we're ready and we'll fight to the end. And that's a lot. That's a lot. I thought we were talking about numbers. And that's another place to take it. And then Trump raised it to like almost 150% on, and this is my thing. I'm not an economist. I don't even know math. But can we at least keep the percents in the 100, please? You know what I mean? Because we're getting into some dangerous territory. The only other place that percents have gone over 100 and has been bad for people in this way is Maury. Maury had people on that were 1,000% sure, and they couldn't have been more wrong. They could not have been more fundamentally incorrect. One of my favorite, in case you're not familiar with Maury, in case you have not been blessed with the afternoon programming, the after-school watching that was Maury, there were episodes of Maury. Maybe my favorite episode of all time was white woman, white man, black baby, fraternity episode. That was art. So white woman over here, and she's like, that's his baby, Maury. That's his baby. Why won't he take care of his responsibilities more? Okay, so we dated for a while. We would hook up from time to time, and then we broke up. So I was out. You know what I mean? I saw some people, but that's his baby. Look at it. The baby got a head. He got a head. That's his baby. All right. And then I never thought that I would have to say it this way, but then this poor white man had to, in real time, navigate making sure everyone understood he was not the father while not saying anything horrifically offensive. And to his credit, he really kept a cool head and did his best. He was like, okay, look. We all God's children, all right? Okay, and I mean this with no disrespect to the African American gentleman baby or the community at large, but he and I are not kin. And then Maury, who is normally the voice of reason, who you think would have his back, says out loud, "You don't think this could be your child?" And this man is sitting here like, "Maury, don't make me say it. Are you serious? Look at the screen." And then he read it out. He was like, "You know, the DNA results are in." He pulls it out of the envelope and he goes, "When it comes to the case of 2-year-old Dalmon Travius, Mike, you are not the father." And of course she was like, "No!" And she did 6 backflips and ran outside. And then he went, "Yeah, I know." Y'all be blessed. And that's my thing. It's like if you're gonna be more than 100% sure, you have to be so sure. You have to be right. You have to be correct. And China came out with a statement. I think it was today. It might have been yesterday. I don't know. I just saw it where they were like, due to the U.S. Tariff raise, we will be raising tariffs 125%, and any other raises the U.S. will do in retaliation will be inconsequential and will be seen as a joke in the history of economies. And I'm just saying, maybe you don't want to get into a math contest with China. Y'all been fantastic. Thank y'all so much. Trillion, that's a lot. Trillion, that's a lot. Yeah. That's a lot.
Please make a bunch of noise right now for my friend Josh Johnson!
I watch a lot of true crime documentaries and series and stuff, and I like to watch the ones that, as best as possible, don't involve murder, because genuinely, I'll be like, "Oh, this is wild, but this is also very sad." So I like the ones where it's like a robbery. You know what I mean? I like when it's like a huge drug bust, something you can really sink your teeth into without being like, "Oh, there is a family to be sad for." You know what I mean? And what I love is the process of when the person is sure they're not going to talk. You know what I mean? They'll bring somebody in, and when the person gets brought in, some people really hang tough. Some people, you know, door slams behind them. I've never been to jail, but I hear the doors are heavy. Door slams behind them. They actually get more tough. They sit in interrogation like, "What? I'm not gonna tell you nothing. You want something out of me? You got the wrong one." Okay? And then there's other people, that door slams, and as soon as it slams, they're like, "Listen, I wasn't there, all right? It was Robert. It was Terry, Robert and Terry. It was their plan anyway. If anything, I'm an innocent bystander. I was just in the car. Y'all know when y'all arrested us, I was in the back seat. That's for a reason. I wasn't even the getaway driver. I thought we were going to McDonald's." Like, just, there are some people who snitch so fast. Even the police can't write it down fast enough. Police are like, "Well, we got it on tape too, but yeah, this is too fast for the shorthand." Imagine you snitch so fast, you make a cop go, "Hold on."
take a breath. Because you never know who it's gonna be. There are some people who were, you know, whether it was gang activity, it's mob activity, there are people who were like the run of the litter, and they're the ones that actually hold out. They're like, I'm not telling you anything. I don't even think you have enough on me. Let's play, let's roll the dice. And then there are people, no matter how tatted up, no matter how affiliated, it might even run in the family. They might be somebody who is third generation, but they don't want to be in prison. They don't want to be in jail. And so as soon as they have the opportunity, they tell them everything. Things they didn't even ask. You see a lot of it, you know? Then you have people who at first don't tell. Then they're ready to talk after like a couple years. You know what I mean? After a couple years, you know, have enough mold on your sandwich that you're like, it's really not worth it. Like, nobody coming to visit me. Like, no. That's what makes me wonder what must be going through Ghislaine Maxwell's mind. You know what I mean? Look, I'm no legal expert, but I do find it wild that in this supposed cabal, this supposed billionaire ring of predators, that the only one you caught is the one you're ready to make a deal with. And a deal for what? You know what I mean? Exposing more names? Bringing other people down? Probably not. Probably just being bribed to not say the president's name. You know? And look, I could be wrong. I don't think I am. Because you've already seen Trump float the idea of pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell. We even know from old tapes they thought about pardoning her way back when she got sentenced. You know? And yeah, no, I agree. I'm not a fan of it. She's not here. I'm not a fan. The boo. This is somebody's essence being booed. Like, this. No, it is genuinely insane what's happening because, you know, Trump floated the pardon. He even was asked by the press if he would pardon Ghislaine Maxwell, and he goes, look, I could, but let's not talk about it right now. What an insane thing to say. You got asked a yes or no question, and you somehow answered worse than yes or no. I've never been doing a test and got a true false and put maybe. I don't know, you the teacher, you tell me. That's insane. Already floated a pardon in front of us, maybe to gauge our reaction. Maybe if there's not enough outrage, the pardon will go ahead. And then DOJ goes, have a conversation with Ghislaine Maxwell. And already, I think it was today, just today, she's been moved from the prison and she was in to a minimum security facility somewhere else. Thought we covered this. I too hope she can feel your boos. I hope boos work like laxatives, you know. Ghislaine Maxwell just sitting in jail right now. You know, boos don't travel that fast, and so It comes in waves out of nowhere. She's having a conversation. Oh yeah, Trump and Epstein were there. Ooh. That's my hope. No idea if that's the case. But, you see this sort of thing happening. It feels insane. It feels insane to watch in real time. This is the only person, the one person that got caught, the one person that's being held accountable. And everybody's so obsessed with like the idea of a list or more people or whoever they want to be on the list being on the list that they forget that there were real people that deserve justice. And the idea that the only person that we've so far got might go free is it's unacceptable, Because you see Trump floating, pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell, and I can't imagine what it must be like to be a Trump aide. Like your nose must bleed every day. It's like, yeah, I'm thinking of pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell, and the aide is like, what? I asked you what you want for breakfast. If anything, I think I am a little bit, I'm trying to figure out how to put this. I feel sorry for my friends who didn't see it coming because they still believed in like a system and they still believed in like laws and they believed that jail existed for like a reason, and I am, I'm black. So I kind of saw a good portion of this coming. It's like, anyone who's genuinely shocked that Ghislaine Maxwell might get a pardon and that she's already been moved to a minimum security prison after being convicted, but then talking to the DOJ under like new light. Anyone who's surprised by that has never watched the first 48 before. And they think that people aren't going to see through it. This is a lot like when you're in school and you didn't do your homework, but you remembered there was homework right as the teacher says, pass up the homework. And so you fighting. You've never worked a pencil harder. You fighting to get words on a page. It doesn't even make sense what you're saying. It's you going over the whole scarlet letter as fast as you can. And then you pass it up. Teacher collects all the papers and you think, maybe I got away with it. All we had to do was 300 words summarized in the last chapter of Scarlet Letter. I think I did it. Pulled it off. Felt like 300. Might have been 290. And then class is going on. Maybe you have to read while the teacher grades the homework, and then teacher says your name, calls you up to the front. You're like, okay, don't panic. Maybe I did a good job so fast she's impressed. That's a possibility. And then you walk up to the front, and the teacher's like, did you do this just now? And you don't know what to do. You're caught. You're caught. She caught you. But there's another part of you that's like, maybe if I die with the lie, she'll believe me. What? Just now? No, I did this at home. And she's like, you sure? You're like, uh-oh, she's on to me. Yes, I did this at home. And then she was like, oh, okay, great. That's good news. I was worried that you did it just now, which means you wouldn't have your math homework. And then you remembered that this has been math class the entire time. That at least feels like what Trump is going through. Because if Trump was smart, he would have done all this stuff a long time ago when it could have maybe still been believable. But now everybody sees through it. Oh, it's crazy. It's so crazy. And then, on top of that, this is already insane enough. Already, there's so many ties to Donald Trump, Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein, that even a pardon just feels like it would be happening in our faces, right? There's no misunderstanding about the conflict of interest. There's no misunderstanding about what her role is if she does testify in front of Congress or whoever. And there's no misunderstanding about what the quid pro quo is between the two of them. You know what I mean? And even in that moment, on top of all that, Donald Trump floats pardoning Diddy. And it's like, that one doesn't even have anything to do with you. I don't think. Don't you have enough to deal with? That's crazy. As someone who is not in jail, I'm sweating about everybody who's about to be out of jail. This is insane. So then already the public, especially by the media, somewhat potentially unintentional, but the media did a disservice to the public when it came to Diddy's trial, because there's a lot that we know of Diddy. There's a lot that we know that he did, that he's alleged to have done. And I think that the state put forward a remarkably bad case to try to lock Diddy up, because I think from the public's view, they see the trial and you see it through the lens that the media is selling. The media wants you to keep watching, they want you to tune in every day, and so they make it look like he's about to do 10,000 years, right? They really hype this thing up. They never really mention that all the while the trial is going on, pieces are getting dropped. Left and right, charges are getting dropped. There's things that the state is focusing on. There's things that the state is dropping. There's things that we understand that Diddy is at least allegedly done from all the documentaries that came out. You would think that Diddy was 16 OJs, the way that he had documentaries coming out about him every month. Everything Diddy ever did to anybody, they got their own documentary on Tubi, on HBO, on Hulu. Everywhere. Oh, he hung me out of a window. Like, just nonstop stories, right? But it's important to remember what he's being charged with and what he's on trial for. So then things would even come up during the trial. Things that are illegal, that they were just talking about plainly, all to get to the thing he's actually being charged with. So as bad as this testimony sounds, as many things that are going on, you have to remember these are not the things he's being charged with. And I think that media got carried away. I think the news got carried away because they finally had something juicy, something big, something that they knew was going to last for days, weeks, months, that wasn't the same old stuff, something that had a bunch of intrigue in it. Apparently there's all these tapes. Apparently he has all this blackmail on all of Hollywood. There's all these things that were supposed to be coming out during the trial, you know? And then the state supposedly makes their case. They read out the verdict. Everyone is sure that this man is about to do 10 million years. And then they read the first one, not guilty. And they start reading them, and there's 5 charges, and 3 of them not guilty. The 3 that carried the most weight, the 3 that had like a minimum 15, 20 years, you know? And then there's 2 misdemeanors. Those 2 misdemeanors he is found guilty of. The people are perplexed. How is he found guilty of these things that are at least tangentially related to the other charges that he hasn't been found guilty for? What's happening, right? And those charges, the things that he was convicted of, they don't carry some mandatory minimum. You know, he could get time served. He could get up to 10 years. He could still do 20 years. But it's not likely that he'll do 20 years because that is the most extreme of cases where you give people the maximum. And I even rewatched a little bit of the reading of the verdict, and I just thought to myself, could get time served. Why would you bother pardoning him? Like, he might already be walking out of jail that day. That's such a crazy thing to do. You don't have enough going on with everybody thinking you were like on an island 152 times or whatever. To be a Trump aide, you must need heart medication because they already try to convince him, look, that looks bad if you just pardon Ghislaine out of nowhere after all this time and everything, after everything she knows and the pictures that y'all are in together, all the pictures that you're 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 in together, the other pictures that you're in together, the pictures that you're in together, all of the pictures that you're in together. Plus, she did have 19 phone numbers for you. That's not a good look either. And then Trump says, I see what you're saying. I understand. All right, look, what we're gonna do, we do best. All right, gonna run a little interference. We're gonna run a little distraction, okay? And we're also gonna pardon Sean Diddy Combs at the same time. Karen, press secretary, must be fighting demons. I can't imagine. Look, everyone, whether it's Kellyanne Conway, it's Sean Spicer, anyone who has had to represent the Trump administration, go out to the press and answer questions. Look, I understand they chose that job. I understand that they chose to be there. But to a degree, you do have to wonder what the conversation is like before they go out. When they get handed a binder, and at the last second, one of the aides says, and he gonna pardon Diddy. So, no matter who it was, whether it was Sarah Huckabee Sanders, anyone who has represented the administration on the news or in the press room or anything like that, there's at least been 1 or 2 days where they had a 1,000-yard stare because they were like, how am I gonna pull this together? Because look, things came out during Diddy's trial, things that made you think, of course, this jury is gonna find this man guilty. They have to look at everything that they've heard, but you gotta remember the things he was on trial for and the things that they heard didn't always line up. There was one day of testimony that truly blew me away in that case, and that's hard to say because plenty of those days were rough to listen to. But there is one day in particular that has stuck with me in a different way than the other days. It was the day that Kid Cudi testified. Now, famously, still somehow allegedly, Diddy supposedly blew up Kid Cudi's car. You're bringing the man who has his car blown up to testify. You would think that that'd be one of the charges. I've never blown up a car in my life. But if I was brought to court to sit and hear testimony of my crimes, I would imagine the car blowing up would be one of them listed. Anyway, they bring in Kid Cudi. Kid Cudi's testifying about the timeline when he dated Cassie, things that happened between him and Diddy. And then he describes a day that is truly harrowing. Kid Cudi is testifying that while he was gone, he was actually, I believe, spending some time with Cassie, that Diddy hears about the relationship, is very upset about it, and Diddy went to and broke into Kid Cudi's house, right? So already, Diddy in your home, that's terrifying. Diddy in your home is the devil's version of Elf on the Shelf. You don't know what he gonna do, you don't know where he gonna be. Whoa. So Diddy was in his home. Now, I'm a little fuzzy on this part, but apparently, I believe at least, that it was Diddy's assistant that called Kid Cudi to let him know, hey, okay, ooh, how do I tell you this? There's no good way. Diddy in your house. He is all up in your house. I mean, I drove him. He made me. He's like, where you live? And I was like, and we went over to your house. And so he's in your house. I'm not now, I'm outside. You know, he told me to wait here. I don't know what he gonna do. And so, Kid Cudi rushes home. And not only is he rushing home, he actually, this is at least as I understand it, must have Diddy's number because they had a conversation. And he was like, yo, you in my house? You in my house? Bass in voice, ready to beat somebody down. You in my house? And apparently, Diddy very calmly said, yeah. Kid Cudi better than me. If it was me, I wouldn't have a home anymore. If it was me, I'd be like, all right, then you got it, then that's, I mean, if you're already there. Someone breaking and entering into your home and then calmly telling you they broke and entered into your home is more terrifying than I think y'all are giving it credit for. Because then Cudi, apparently, according to testimony, was like, I'm headed there right now, like ready to really beat this dude down, right? And then Diddy said, okay, I'll be waiting for you. I wasn't in court. I had to read all this, and I haven't read a novel by Stephen King scarier than what I read between the two of them. Kid Cudi gets home, Diddy's gone. He walks into the house. Now, that's braver than me. I would assume he's already planted a bomb somewhere. But Kid Cudi walks into the house, is looking around, assessing the damage, and while Diddy was there, he put Kid Cudi's dog in the bathroom, then opened all his Christmas presents and left. That is so insane. We are dealing with pure evil. That is so insane. Open all his Christmas presents. How is he all at once one of the most menacing figures that hip hop has ever seen and a third grade bully? How is it possible that both of these characters hold the same space in the same body? Because that is so particularly evil. He said, I walked over, Christmas presents unwrapped. I opened the bathroom door, my dog confused. And why wouldn't the dog be confused? Let's, for a moment, if you will, put yourself in the dog's paws, all right? You're a dog. You're a dog. You're a dog. And you're at home, chilling, as you should be. And then the door opens. Oh, Papa? No, it's not. It's not the owner that you love. It's Sean Diddy Combs. I don't know what type of dog Cuddy has. I don't know if it's a Scooby-Doo type dog, but I imagine any dog would be like, really? And then Diddy walks over to you confidently, like he knows you. And then he puts you in the bathroom and you're like, okay, I guess that's the best possible outcome. Oh, wow, okay, oof. I thought something way worse was gonna happen. I'm not gonna lie to you. Wow, that's crazy. From what I've heard about you, the bathroom, man, I don't love it in here, but it's better than whatever you're about to do. And then Sean Diddy Combs opens all the Christmas presents and goes, well, my work is done here, and exits. This is how evil what he did is. He already messed up the call to the police. Because now you're going to call the police and have to explain to the police that the only thing that Diddy stole from you was wonder. Imagine that call to the police. You gotta call the police and tell them that Diddy, and the police are asking you very reasonable questions. They're over here like, is he still in the home? I don't know. Hopefully that would make this whole thing a bit more serious. Right now he's left it at hilarious, which is a sick thing to do. No, it's truly insane. Not even destroyed, unwrapped. I can't leave this alone until y'all recognize how dirty this is. Imagine. Lots of people here celebrate Christmas. Lots of people exchange Christmas gifts. Imagine if you came home and there just wasn't paper. And now everybody in the family either like happy or disappointed, like, oh, you got me the Theragun that all right, we're like a couple months out, so can I have it now, I guess? Truly an evil man. And Trump is floating, pardoning Diddy. Even before, this is what's odd, even before this Epstein stuff popped up, Trump had floated the idea of pardoning Diddy mid-trial. And I was like, I didn't know they went together like that. That's weird. Imagine being a white man in your 80s and your favorite rapper is Diddy. No Raekwon, no Rakim, no Run DMC, Diddy. Okay. And even then he had floated the idea of pardoning Diddy. And who knows? Maybe something happened. Maybe some money exchanged hands. Maybe somebody said something to somebody and started it in motion and everything. But I can tell you this, justice system aside, the only person working hard to make sure that Diddy doesn't get a pardon, it isn't the state. No. It's not like the DA or the lead prosecutor or anything like that. The person working their hardest to make sure that Diddy does not get a pardon, that he doesn't get released back into society is 50 Cent. 50 Cent was so excited when Diddy was arrested. There's a video. You could watch the video. It's about 8 seconds long, but it's very, very funny. And it is 50 Cent laughing in the car when I guess he heard the news that Diddy had been arrested. And this man is chuckling. The joy. The joy on this man's face. And then he's chuckling to himself and he goes, he gonna spend Christmas in jail. I've never hated anybody that much. That's so good. Oh, he gonna spend Christmas in jail. He was laughing hard. He was laughing the way that sitcoms used to make people laugh. Like, Christmas in jail. And so when 50 Cent heard that Donald Trump was floating pardon for Diddy, he went to work. He did what he does best. He trolled. 50 Cent just started posting everything bad that Diddy ever said about Donald Trump and tagging Donald Trump. This man went, is this your friend? I wouldn't do that if I was you, Mr. President. You won't believe what he said about you. Oh, no. No, Donald Trump, this is not one of your African Americans, okay? It's been tough. I've been trying to find, like, really, whether I'm reading or I'm watching, I've been trying to find pretty much any news story that isn't about Trump and Epstein, you know? And I came across one that genuinely shocked me in Florida. They, yeah. In Florida, the Tallahassee police arrested Chuck E. Cheese at Chuck E. Cheese. Apparently, Chucky had done some wire fraud. And so the Tallahassee police showed up to the Chuck E. Cheese. And they were ready to take him in, all right? Cuffs already out. And they arrested Chucky mid-birthday party. You couldn't wait an hour and a half? You know where he is. It's not like he's gonna get far in the costume. They arrested Chucky. Those poor kids. Imagine. Picture, if you will, being 6 years old and you're having a birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese because the economy is not doing great. But you're having a good time, you're enjoying it, you're like, cheese pizza, so they say. Delicious yum, right? You're just trying to put on a good face. You jump into the ball pit that is not nearly deep enough. The ball pit that is full of children under the balls because every kid thought it was the funniest thing in the world to pop up out of the balls, but that meant that the ball pit was actually a hard surface because it's made of bodies. You jump into the ball pit doing like a big old face plant thinking you're gonna slide down into the balls, and you just bang heads with another child. You get out of the ball pit concussed. Chucky offers you a flat Diet Coke. Look, there's a hierarchy to costumed mascots. Now, the most athletic are gonna go to teams. You ever been to a sports game and you see their mascot stretches before, they doing wild moves like You go to Disney, there's a lot of walking, but it's a lot of poise. It's a lot of like the stances, you know. You get somebody that's doing goofy, and they're really doing goofy. They got the, you know what I mean? Chucky. Chucky, as far as like costumed mascots go, Chucky doing a lot of the same. Trying to figure out how to put this. Chucky, the qualifications to be Chucky at Chuck E. Cheese are a lot like the qualifications to work at a Waffle House, okay? You're gonna get in the costume, they're gonna tell you do your best, all right? Do your absolute best, and if somebody swing at you, you can swing back after they hit you the first time. You gotta let them get that first hit in. If you hit first, that's assault, all right? And you'll be fired. But look, if they put hands on you first, then hey, you gotta get it how you live and go ahead and swing on them. So imagine you're surprised when at your 6th-year birthday party, you're celebrating 6 years on this planet, and it hasn't been a great 6. You're a little too young to like remember COVID, but you know mom and dad are weird. You clapping with your friends. And Chucky's doing his thing, trying to like find the beat. And you're like, I think he doing something. I can't tell. And then the Tallahassee police walk in. And they cuff Chucky right there in front of you for wire fraud. Y'all couldn't wait. You know where he works. He wasn't gonna get away. No, we gotta cuff him right now in front of the children. Traumatize them. Nah, forget these kids. We gotta dish out justice real quick. Now the kids distraught. They over. You know that? Okay, all right. I'm sorry. It's funny because it's like I can see the kids being like, what'd he do? You know that rumble in the throat when you really cry? There's a certain way you can cry when you're 6 that you never cry again. Like, this is like honestly, a 6-year-old will drop an ice cream and they'll be like, just mixing Disney voices, half Ursula, half Jafar. What'd he do? Let him go, he ain't did nothing. Kids out here vouching for him. He was here the whole time. Because you know that. You know, like when a kid cry long enough, they start coughing. When a kid get real upset and they full of mediocre pizza. Yo, free Chucky! Yo, free Chucky! Oh. Now you getting arrested at Chuck E. Cheese, they perp walking you slow just to embarrass you. Y'all really couldn't wait till he got out the costume too, because you know he can't walk fast with those feet. He still got the costume feet on and everything. So now they over here. They get Chucky outside, slam him up against that car. Boom. Patting Chucky down. Why you need to pat Chucky down? That would be wild though. Chucky had like a full-on Glock on him, like this. That would be crazy. If Chucky he doesn't care where he is. He could be at Chuck E. Cheese. He could be in the streets. He keep that thing on him. The thing that I think would have been probably the toughest for the police, because I personally read about this, I didn't see video, so I don't know if this happened or not. But it would be hard. It'd be very difficult to, you know, open up that car door. And when they walked him out, they did it in full costume, like the head was still on. Like, that's crazy. This is a personal vendetta now that you have with Charles Entertainment Cheese. That you couldn't at least take the head off in Chuck E. Cheese. Imagine they take the head. I mean, I'm sure the kids would have been more upset. Just, oh! Chucky Black! I could have sworn. Anyway. Look, there's not full video that I saw. This is all what I've read, but it's gonna be hard to put your hand on the back of Chucky's head and get him in the car without it looking like police brutality. Because it's not gonna fit. The head is too big. So now you over here, watch your head. Kids at the glass of the door. You know how Chuck E. Cheese built. They at the glass like, no! They beating up Chucky. Police like, no, I'm not. I'm trying to get the head in. No, he won't fit. He can't even feel it like that. No, don't do that. Everybody start recording. Look what they doing to Chucky, y'all. And they take you down to the police station. Perp walking you. Downtown. Imagine if you got arrested that day. For possession of illicit substances. You know, it could be anything. It could be acid, it could be shrooms, it could be anything. And you got arrested for possession. You're not a dealer. They caught you doing essentially a victimless crime, trying to enjoy yourself, enjoy your Saturday. Maybe you don't have your life together. Maybe you're not invited to your kid's birthday party. And you get arrested, you're sitting downtown, waiting to be processed, and then Ayo. I know I got a right to remain silent. I know this may hurt me in court. But did a giant mouse just walk through here fully arrested? Oh, thank goodness. I thought I was still very high from drugs. It's insanity, you know what I mean? Now you gotta do everything. How you gonna take Chucky fingerprints? These aren't even functional. I don't know if they feet or hands, but they're not. Mug shot too. Those mug shots are cold. They're just like, ready, face me. Turn. Turn. No. Now you gotta sit in holding. Imagine all you did was get a little drunk. Maybe you get into a fight at a bar, you sitting in the drunk tank, and the only other is Chucky a person? Nobody else in there but you and Chuck E. Cheese. And whether it's jail or a birthday, they never really gave, at least that I know of, Chucky a voice. Chucky was always silent. At every birthday party I had at Chuck E. Cheese, Chucky was silent. You know, do the... Imagine you sitting there with Chuck E. Cheese in jail. You're wondering how your life took this turn. You look over at Chucky, and Chucky mad. Chucky like, you know, I thought I had that wire fraud on lock. I'm wondering who snitched. I'm wondering what went wrong, yeah? You look over at Chucky, and Chucky's like, what you looking at, dog? You got a problem? But all you see is... Yo, you want step? I'm just saying that in this like kangaroo circus of a court and justice system where we know the government is playing in our face, playing with really dangerous people who have done terrible things. If you're gonna pardon Ghislaine Maxwell, if you're gonna pardon Diddy, then at least yo, free Chucky, all right? Denver, y'all been phenomenal. Thank you so much. I appreciate
y'all. Make it loud right now for my friend Josh Johnson!
Is this really happening? Is this really happening? Was a thing that I found myself saying. I was with my friends and we were hiking, which was a mistake. Hiking, I don't hike often. Even the first time I went hiking was a bit of a trick, because they said it was a walk, which is technically not a lie, but it's not the walk I was anticipating. You can walk places. I could walk here. Hiking is going up nature steps for no reason. I'm not being a hater, by the way. If you like to hike, hike. Go take a hike. But if you want me to hike with you, I don't know why. Maybe I'm just good enough company that they're like, oh, we'll miss them. Let's hike together. As soon as I'm walking up, we have a problem. I like a walk. I like to go on a walk. That's how they got me. As soon as I'm walking and the steps are not, we've figured out steps. We have figured out the rise and the run that'll actually be decent on your hips. You want to get some exercise? Walk up that thing that Rocky ran up. This thing, I was like, eventually I'm like, where are we going? And they're like, to see the view. It's a beautiful day. We figure we go for a hike to see a beautiful view. And I'm like, oh, because you called it a walk. And then we hike, and we hike. I think about how the word hike got started. It's probably somebody going up for no reason. Seeing somebody coming down, because that's the other thing. Whenever you go hike, there'll be people who already hiked that you'll see on the way, and they'll give you hope. It's sick. It's sick. They will give you hope because now that it's easier to go down. You can fall down. It's easy to go down. So then the people that hiked up already, they were already tall. They were already there. And then now they turn around, and when they see you, you'll ask a question. Like I ask a question because I'm not enjoying hiking. So then I'm like, how much further? And I hate the way I ask. It's not exactly a manly way to ask. I'm not even putting on any like tough face. I'm like, how much further? And then they're like, you're almost there and it's beautiful. Two lies in one sentence.
too. It feels like you're almost there to them because they turned around. They're going down now. It's easy. Going down is, ooh, smooth. They forgot when they were where we are. They've turned around. They don't even care how long it takes to get down because you're always almost down. If you get real tired of walking down, you can lean. Gravity will take care of the rest. It's gonna be beautiful. And then you keep walking. And then eventually you see another person. And you're like, huh, that's crazy. I probably shouldn't see another person because I was almost there when I saw the last person. And you see the next person, the next person, just as optimistic. It's gross. I'm just as happy. I barely even got out the sentence to the next person. It's much further. And they're like, oh, it's just a little bit further, and beautiful. Don't ever do that for anything but food. Don't stop acting like you can taste experience. The view, like. Did you walk up with your mouth open? Why? What's wrong with you? And luckily, this person, this liar, had a friend, a reluctant friend, a friend like me. Because they were like, oh, no, you're gonna love it. You're almost there. It's beautiful. And then their friend was like, friends over here. Which is also crazy. I was like, why would they just telling us with their eyes? Like, clearly, I don't know. It felt like they were in a relationship. Or one of them was trying to be. Like, that was a weird get out signal. It was a weird, like. You know when somebody shakes their head and the jowls really go like. We go up. We go up. We go up. And then I see another person. I see another person. And they're coming down. And when I see them, I'm like, I And who knows? Maybe it was like looking to them. Maybe we were having a very specific moment. Maybe they used to be like me because they somehow, genuinely, they somehow understood me. And they were like, it's right behind me. Kept walking down. And then we get up there and I see the view. That is cloudy. I walked all the way up here to see stuffing. Like it looked like, you know, like when a dog rip up a toy real good. Bunch of white clouds, some gray. I didn't know we walked this high.
At one point I had to ask myself, I'm like, am I still alive? Like this. Is this happening? Is what was going through my head when I saw it coming at us. This turtle. The turtle was coming at, and not just a turtle coming at us, a turtle was coming at us fast. None of this should be happening. I'm at the top of a mountain with a fast turtle locking in on me. The turtle is coming so fast. And when I tell you fast, I don't mean fast for a turtle, I mean actually fast. I mean it like almost broke my brain. Fast. A turtle. And not like fast like, not like storybook fast, not like sloppy fast, which felt faster. It was really like flip, 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 but at like warp speed. It's crazy. It was, guys, y'all, listen. I was losing my mind because it wasn't like, you know what I mean? It wasn't fast the way a roach can be fast. It was fast like a turtle put on fast forward. This turtle is over here coming directly at me. And so appropriately, I scream. And this is what sucked about that day. I'm already out of breath from my walk up. So I can't breathe enough to scream, and I'm also scareder than I've been in several days. Because a turtle is zooming at me fast. And so then I've got my phone in my hand, and this is the worst part, okay. So I scream, but I scream with the phone in the hand. And when you, maybe this is like a man thing. Maybe this might sound insane to some of y'all. But as a man, when you scream and you're genuinely scared, you hope you don't have anything in your hands. Because the way your hands shake the thing in your hands betrays how scared you are. If I scream, but I don't have anything in my hands, I'm like, ah! That's life. I had my phone in my hand, so I had a visible representation of how terrified I was, because the phone is like, ah! If the phone had moved a centimeter in my hand, it'd be like, he's not even really that scared, he's just surprised. The phone moved easily a foot and a half. And then I seemed insane to my friends because I saw it first. So for them, I'm someone who they admittedly tricked into hiking, and I was huffing and puffing, and everyone we saw was like, how much further? How much further? And now we're at the top, and they're mad too. All they see are clouds. We probably shouldn't have done this. There's plenty of places to exercise. And then they're looking out at this disappointing view, and they hear, ah! It would have been better if I had dropped my phone, because I'm screaming and I'm back on, ah! And then the turtle is coming at me. And then everybody sees it. And this is where I lose people and people lose me, because then this is where the story gets muddy, right? Because we all ran.
Everybody ran. I turned around, everybody with me. So we were all scared. And everybody ran, right? But then, after we run, after we're safe, now they want to tell me that wasn't a turtle. I saw it first. I saw it the longest. I decided what it was. And I'm not even saying I decide what it was because I'm always right. I'm just saying I think I should get to decide what it is because I was staring at it the longest and it was coming right at me. Terrifying stuff, you know? Do you like care? Do you, like, not about that. Do you, like, do you... No, do you care? Because, okay, there are things that happen sometimes that no one can agree on, like, the proper etiquette for how to handle. Because there's enough going on socially that people start making up rules as they go to sort of get through life. And then after a while, you know, now that we're not like in the wilderness anymore, and now that we have like modern technology, now there's a little bit of breakdown. There's a little bit of breakdown in like what's proper etiquette, right? So for me, this is my thing, and I'm not asking you, don't say anything out loud. Answer the question in your head, because I cannot tell, and I've had countless arguments about this. Is it messier to answer the phone on speakerphone and not tell somebody they're on speakerphone? Or is it messier to call somebody knowing you want to talk mess and there's a possibility of being on speakerphone? It's hard to tell. They're both not good. It's happened many times. Many times I've been in the car with somebody and they throw speakerphone on. They either are, you know, trying to drive responsibly, or they just love answering on speakerphone because they love having their hands free and they don't have their AirPods in or whatever, right? One time, I was with some friends and they were calling some family. We're in the car, and family member picks up. But it's not who they call, it's the kid. The kid calls and is like, hi. And we're like, hey, how you doing? Like, oh, I'm good. And this kid doesn't care that they're on speakerphone. They don't have anything to say that's like, you know, hush hush. But they're like, what are you doing? And the kid is like, oh, I'm just eating hot dogs and sitting on toilet. Okay. Okay. Good talk, buddy. Many times it's been, you know, conversation, calling, answer, speakerphone. I personally think that if I call you and you pick up and I'm on speakerphone, speakerphone should be my last name. You're on speakerphone should be my last name. Hey, Josh, you're on speakerphone. A simple warning. And I'm not even like messy like that, but still, what if something happens in real time? I should know when I'm in mixed company and when I'm in the company of the person that I called. I wasn't in the car for this one. But okay. let's just call them Mark and Sarah. Mark had been away on some business, and this was back in the day before like Uber. So you really needed somebody to pick you up from the airport if you didn't park your car at the airport beforehand. You know, you could call a taxi, but it'd be quite a while and everything, right? And so Sarah's mom picked up Mark at the airport, and they had schemed together to surprise Sarah with him being back in town early, because she was already supposed to have a little picnic with her mom, and it was just going to be one of those picnics where it's like the mom comes and she's like, "Who's that behind you?" "It's Mark." "Oh, wow." Before YouTube, so it wouldn't have gone viral. And so then Sarah's mom, thinking it would be like a cute little thing to like tee up what they were about to do, calls Sarah just to be like, "Hey, how you doing?" "Oh, I'm good. I'm excited for our picnic." "Oh, so am I. Have you talked to Mark today?" "No, I haven't talked to him today." "Oh, okay. I was just wondering." Just, a little primer for the surprise, right? And so she calls her, and she's on speakerphone, and Sarah picks up, and she's like, "Hey, how you doing?" "Oh, I'm good. I'm good. Excited for our picnic." "Oh, so am I. Have you talked to Mark today?" "No. We haven't talked today. And honestly, it's probably important that we do, because I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it's just hard. I feel like the spark is like gone. Like it's just... and maybe you went through this thing with Dad, but just, I don't know, like, sometimes he's gone, and I'm like, all right. This doesn't really feel like it used to or anything. And even when he gets back, I'm like, not that excited. I should be more excited. I don't know, like, it's probably... We should probably get a divorce. Like, if I've been feeling this way for so long. And Sarah's mom looks over at Mark like, "Ugh." You know when you can't cringe enough? I've never been driving for it, but like I imagine that steering wheel was going through it. She had to be gripping that thing. Like the car was about to take off and fly away. And then she goes, "Well, sweetie, Mark's with me now." And Mark goes, "Hey, honey." Then she goes, "Oh." "Do you think we should get a divorce?" And it's like, do you even care that you're on speakerphone? Like, I am not like a tough guy. Sometimes I've like wanted to be a tough guy before. Especially when I was like little, I wanted to be like, tough. I'd even try to break the rules sometimes. You know what I mean? I'd have a pen, and I'd walk right up to like a white wall and be like, vandalism. Deal with it. Like I wanted to like be bad, but I just didn't. I didn't have it. Even now, it's like it's never done a drug. I don't drink or anything. One time I was like, you know what? Why should I deprive myself? Everybody seems like they're having so much fun. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna have a virgin margarita. I wonder what the flavor is. I've never had margarita flavor before. So I had a virgin margarita. Turns out, way too sweet. Like, ridiculously sweet. I used to be a bar back where I served people virgin margaritas. No wonder they got so drunk. These are delicious. I didn't have any alcohol, but I was like, I think I'll have another. I think I'll have another. I think I'll have another. To the point where I did get sick. I got sick off virgin margaritas. And like real sick too. Like, called my friends. I was so sick. I was with some friends. I called other friends. I called friends to be like, you know, y'all been drunk before. Y'all have had your benders and everything. I don't have any alcohol in me, but I got like the other half. I got like all the sugars. My stomach hurt. And like, look, I don't like that it happened, but I was not throwing up. I was just saying ooh a lot because it felt like I was gonna throw up, so I kept being like, ooh, because then you know when you think you're about to throw up, so you start arguing with yourself, where you're like, no. I'm telling my friends, I don't, and they're like, do you need us to take you to the hospital? I don't know if I'd live it down. I don't know if I could live down being rushed to the hospital off virgin margaritas. Maybe having to get my stomach pumped off virgin margaritas because I ingested a childish amount of sugar. But they were like, I called my friend, and they were like, do you need us to take you to the hospital? I was like, who is us? And they were like, oh, I'm sorry, you're on speakerphone. There's no way to take your cool back off speakerphone. I was so embarrassed. I was on speakerphone, and then I muted. I don't know what I was thinking. I was drunk on virgin margaritas. Oh. But those are things I've been thinking about because I've been watching what's happened. Whether you like Jimmy Kimmel or not, whether you watch the show, whether you care about his show or him or
Or like, oh, it's television. I've heard all the excuses. The excuses came quick. The excuses came quick because this is unprecedented. And when things are unprecedented, you wonder if should you do something. And you don't have to do anything if there's an excuse. You don't have to do anything if it's okay. I've heard people, oh, well, I'm sure they were losing money anyway. No. Oh, well, you know, I don't really like what he said. What'd he say? Oh, no, you know, this thing was a long time coming because of how he's been acting. How has he been acting? Help me understand. Because the thing about free speech, especially like free speech wars, you always have to be careful. Who actually cares about everybody's speech? Who's an actual absolutist, and who's just trying to like get in? Who's just trying to sneak in? You know? Because there are some people who have some heinous things to say, and they want to be able to say those things, and they use free speech as their anchor. That's their in. They wedge themselves in that way. But then, when it's their turn to talk, what they actually want is for other people to not be able to talk. That's what they've wanted for a long time. Like I'm blown away about a thing that we've done since I was a little kid. When I was a little kid, it was explained to me that we had all these sorts of rights, and that these rights were fought for, and that these rights were things that we had that other people didn't have. There are other people in other countries that weren't as fortunate to have the rights that we have, right? And there's always been something that bothered me about that sentiment, about that idea. Because your freedom, your freedom it's yours because it's yours. Nobody can give it to you. Nobody can make you as free as you were born. Life gives you freedom. You're supposed to be free. You're supposed to be able to say the things that you think. You're supposed to be able to express yourself. Government can't give you freedom. It can definitely try to take things away, but even within what it tries to take away, it can't really take it away because the freedom wasn't given to you by the government to take away. Government can, you could buy a house at auction. Let's say somebody fell behind on their property taxes, so now their property's up for auction. You buy it, then you fall behind on those same property taxes. Government takes it away. It was never really yours. Freedom doesn't work that way. And so we walk around and we talk about how we have all these freedoms. These are our freedoms, and they're not from a government. These are God-given things. These are things that you were born with. These are things that nobody can take away. Even if they try. Even if they try. Look, they've tried with people throughout history. And there are people that live in a world without those freedoms, right? But even the resistance to express yourself is still your freedom trying to like sprout out of all of that cover. Your freedom is yours. I can't stress it enough. It's like saying, government, let me keep all my toes. Well, the government can only try to take away toes. They don't really hand out toes. It feels like you're giving the government an awful lot of credit. It's your freedom. It was given to you by something that outlasts all of this stuff. You know what I mean? And it can't really be taken away. You can be manipulated, and you can be scared. You could be angry enough, like some people are angry enough, to let someone's freedom of speech be taken away. You could be fearful. You could be so fearful that just the threat of an investigation, just the threat of some sort of government overreach makes you cave before there's even a solidified threat there. You know, you have a fear, you have an anger, You can have a hate that goes deeper than an anger. You can be so confused about what's going on, you just want someone to make a definitive statement about anything. You'll just go with it because you hate not knowing, you hate uncertainty. And then you see something like what happened to Jimmy Kimmel happen. And then you see people ask, is this really happening? Because it was never supposed to be able to happen here. And it's because of a lie that we told ourselves. We told ourselves that every country and everyone was different from us. Which is why we don't recognize ourselves when things that are only supposed to happen in other places happen here. You know? That's low-key the American way. The American way is to be like, well, look, of course it would happen there. It's because they're not over here. And it's like, no, whatever it is, happened over there because it could happen anywhere, especially if you're not vigilant, especially if you think that things won't happen to you just because. There is no more just because. Is this really happening? Yes, it's happening. As wild as it may seem, as surreal as it is, you know, it's coming, and it's coming fast, like a turtle that shouldn't be on a mountain. Is this happening? Yes, it is happening. This is happening. There's no way around it. The people who are okay with it are okay with it for now. But there are plenty of people that I don't even like, that have the presence of mind to know that this is not just crazy, this is unacceptable. This cannot happen here. It can't happen here. Because, look, this is the other scary thing about government. And I'm not just trying to scare you. I'm just telling you everything that I've seen, everything I've ever read about, and people from other countries that have different life experiences to us. I'm telling you what they're saying, right? Pendulum swing. And one thing that governments don't do, hardly any government does, is give back the power it took in some way. You know what I mean? If you give over to fear, if you give them these things, they will be given and taken for good. There's no way around it. And we've already seen you cannot do enough. You will not be good enough. You won't be complacent enough. You can't placate enough to make it stop. It will not stop. They came for a white man with money. Do you know how nervous that makes a black guy? They came for a white man with money that really didn't do anything. And when I say really didn't do anything, people can go back and forth about trying to cherry pick or like the phrase of a thing, or here's what I thought he said when he said whatever. That does not matter. That actually gets us into a conversation we shouldn't even be in, because it shouldn't even be on the table, all right? It is not going to just go away, and it's not going to just stop. So then it's important. Do you care? Because if you care, that's very different. If you're scared, it's understandable. Plenty of people are scared. People with money are scared. ABC was scared. Disney was scared. You know Disney. Oh, you know Disney. Disney was scared. Disney, the same people who come up from behind you if you draw a picture of Mickey and go, what do you think you're doing with that, huh? Huh? We'll change the fair use laws and we'll make this illegal. Those people were scared. Being scared is human. But not doing anything is a choice, and not making your voices heard, and not you don't just take for granted what's happening. I think that there is, in my opinion, not enough alarm bells sounding. You know what I mean? Because we all saw it, but it's like in a hush, in a whisper, and I'm wondering why that is, because this man still loses in court. Just today, a judge threw out some $15 billion defamation lawsuit against the New York Times. When these things go to court, they don't not just win, they don't prevail, they don't proceed, because under the law, they are illegal, you know? And any sort of strong arming by the government should really, really, really sound the alarms for any citizen. Pendulums swing. Governments do not give back power that they've taken. 9/11 was a long time ago. When did we get our privacy back? You know what I mean? So if it happened with privacy and then became normal and then you didn't really care, the same thing could happen with speech. All of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, I guess I should get Grok to proofread my sentiments on the day. You're not alone in being worried, you're not alone in being fearful, you're not alone in being angry. The thing about not being alone is that you just have to find the other people. You have to find the other people who feel the way that you feel, and you have to stay in communion with them as strong as you can. Because it's the other people who feel the way you feel that will stop you from feeling crazy. And it is the only thing. That's the only thing that will, you know, if you keep the phone in your face, you will feel like you're losing your mind. Because it's all happening so fast, all happening all the time. Like, I'm not a tough guy. I'm not. I almost die off virgin margaritas. And I screamed. I screamed. And I ran from a turtle. But I can't run from this, and neither can you. I love you all, and we have each other, okay? Thank you all so much. Thanks for coming out.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Josh Johnson!
So I saw this video for this robot butler. There's a robot butler that you can buy and bring into your home if you've never watched a sci-fi film.
Do you know what I mean? Like if you just avoided all of them, if it's just not your genre, but you're like, ooh, a whole robot. Yeah, let's get him in here. Give him access to all the knives. No, you can. You can do it now. You can order one. It's thousands of dollars. It's very expensive. You could get a robot in your home, do a bunch of like small tasks, chores, things you don't feel like doing. And it's just, you know, it's a whole robot with like legs, arms, hands. They did everything. I don't know if they did toes. But it walks, and it just, the thing that freaks me out about this thing is that in the development along the way, I'm not saying every single company that develops every robot does the same thing, but you've seen the videos. Some of these videos have gone viral because every time they get closer to building a robot that has like perfect balance or is either stronger or more adept at a task, every time they do something like that, it goes viral. We see it. They cover it on like the morning news and stuff. And I just know that to get robots to this point where this robot is at now, that they don't just fall over, it took a long time. You used to see these robots where they, you know, tip. That's not fast enough. You're not going to get your stuff in a timely manner. You need them taking whole steps, and they take whole steps, but they didn't have good foot placement, so then they tip into the middle, they'd fall. And so then we started making ones where the whole purpose is that they can't fall, and the way we tested if they could fall or not was we did kick them. We did almost exclusively kick them. And not little taps either, not like a little hook. Here's a little trick for it. You would see people in the video walk up to the robot like, wow! And the only reason you didn't feel worse for the robot is it didn't have a face. This thing, it looked very sad, and there was one, okay, look, maybe I'm in my head about this. I swear when I was watching, okay, because you know that dog they made? They made like a dog first that couldn't fall. And I was like, so you just go kick a dog. I know it's a robot dog, but like still, you kick this dog and the dog got better and better at not falling, better and better at catching itself and everything, to the point where it got to where it would not fall. It couldn't fall, right? But beyond not being able to fall, they still, you know, they gotta run tests, and the tests were as sophisticated as bow, right? But there was this one time this dude ran up, kicked the robot dog, and the robot dog stumbled. And it's a millisecond. It's so short that I had to watch this video 3,000 times to make sure I actually saw what I saw. But like, and then for a split second, you saw it think about going like, but it didn't do it. It didn't do it. And I was like, yeah, but you've been kicking it for a year and a half. You kicked its brother, you kicked its stepdad, like you kicked. And so now you take all that kicking history and you go ahead and put that into a robot in the home that can regular walk. I don't know how tall they are, but you get a robot in your home that's taller than you a fool, okay? I'm gonna tell you right now, if you gotta look up at your robot, you out your mind. If you yelling at your robot, I know you out of your mind if you over here, hey! That's insane. Because we also not polite. We've been taught to not be polite to the robot. That's been baked in now. I don't even know if you could, it would feel weird for you to be polite if you were polite. You know millions and millions of people every day say, hey Alexa, and you know what they don't say? Please. You want to know how I know that? First Alexa experience I had, I didn't like it. Because it was in the house, but I didn't know where it was. So I was like, all right, so you just inviting the ghosts in then. You way too comfortable with ghosts, because sooner or later, because you don't know if your house haunted. So now you over here talking to Alexa all the time. Then one day, Alexa voice a little raspy. You don't even clock it. Now you in a whole murder house with a bad history and you don't even, you think, oh, it's malfunctioning. And you got a whole poltergeist going on and you over here calling Amazon. And so then, you know, I go over to my friend's house and my friend's like, oh, hey, we got this new thing. You know, if you want to play some music, just say, hey, Alexa, play whatever. And I was like, hey, Electric, I just didn't want to do it. And he was like, no, go ahead, give it a try. I was like, all right. Hey, Alexa, play Kendrick, please. And he was like, why'd you say please like that? I was like, I don't know. It's weird. Like, this is weird. This doesn't feel weird to you? He's like, no, it's not weird, it's future. I was like, all right, the future's uncomfortable. You know what I mean? I just don't think that's good practice for our interactions person to person. That every day you make demands of something without any courtesy, without any politeness, and then we wonder why people are like rude. You know what I mean? It's like more and more you're like, you get to the point where you're dealing with so much, whatever it is, you're dealing with so much AI, you're dealing with so many robots, and you start treating people like AI, like robots, like people who just sort of serve a function. You know, it's like I remember, you know, I was ordering some food, and they do this thing now just to make sure that you got your food when you do, like, I think like everybody does. I think like Uber Eats, Grubhub, I think everybody does it now, where when they want it at the door. When someone says, I want it handed to me at the door, they have to take a picture, right? So then they take the picture, and it's usually just of the receipt of the bag, right? But then, you know, he's like, can I take a picture? I didn't know about this new policy. Like, I didn't know. And I'm not like, I want y'all to know, I don't think I'm like world famous or something, but he asked me if he wanted to pick, like, can I take a picture? And I was like, oh yeah, sure. And so then I got next to him. And I felt so bad for him because he like truly didn't know what to do because he was like, oh, like, I guess he didn't want to correct me. I guess he didn't want to be like, no, please stand away from me. I'm just gonna take a picture of you. Because it also does sound a little weird to be like, hey, I'm gonna take a picture of you, be still. Like, that is a little uncomfortable. But then I had already walked out the door and I'm side to side with him waiting for him to lift the phone. And then this sweet man, just to spare my feelings, turned it on selfie mode. It goes, can you lift the bag up for the picture? I felt very, yeah. But that is what's happening, is that we're getting to this place where most of our interactions are like so transactional, down to the point of just what the service is, that it doesn't feel like we're having a relationship with a person, even a person who's like doing you a service. So then, of course, maybe in people's minds, the next step would be for a robot to be there. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're doing it with Uber already. Uber switching to these driverless cars, these like Waymos, and it's like, to a certain degree, why wouldn't you? Because people get in their Uber and they don't want to talk to the driver. Maybe the driver doesn't want to talk to them either, and it's just, okay. It's almost a similar experience, you know? It's just the butler thing is so much more off-putting, because it is, okay, it's too, I don't know, like, why'd they have to give it a regular body? That's uncomfortable.
Do you know what I mean? Like it doesn't even have like a, like if it had looked like a Power Ranger, then maybe, because like that's still a little too much like regular body, but just it having a regular body is just it is uncomfortable. And it comes in 3 colors. Comes in 3 colors. It comes in like tan, silver, and black. And like a deep black, like an onyx. It comes very black. That's not uncomfortable for anybody? That you can now buy a black? That feels awkward. Imagine you buy one of these Neo things, you buy one of these robots. And let's say it's doing all the tasks. Let's say it's really good. And then you invite one of your black friends over. And it's over here setting the table, not speaking. What are we doing? You could have picked silver. You could have had silver. Silver was an option the entire time. And you were like, no, but I would like black. I would actually enjoy it more. Didn't make white. Didn't even make like a fuchsia. And I'm sure you can trace the thinking down to like how people even like their phones. Like people, like that's like a thing with iPhone, like tan, silver, black, right? But this is different. This feels very different. This feel like when you see it, especially, especially you over here giving orders, not saying please, just. It's a bad look. And they do all this testing. You know what I mean? They do all this. I love product promotion for tech, because then the people who made the tech usually want to do the product promotion. That's like a big thing that comes from, fair enough, the world of tech, but mainly like Steve Jobs. Like Steve Jobs is who we look back and we see, wow, the iPhone revolutionized social. Like social wasn't even really a thing and couldn't really become a thing without the way we use our phone. Like there were just these moments when he held up like an iPod, when he held up an iPhone, that you look back at as like, wow, these are like pivotal moments. And because these people are trying to be like him, even if they're not trying to be exactly like him, they also want those pivotal moments for their career. They want to look back and be enough of a trendsetter and be enough of like a social beacon in tech, in communication, that you can look back at their clip and they held something up or they stood next to something and then it changed the world. Like, I understand why that's enticing, but at the same time, you're not great talking to people. That's almost across the board. We've seen, you remember when Zuckerberg was all in on the metaverse, when he was pouring billions of dollars. The metaverse was going to be the future. The metaverse was going to be how we worked, how we played. It was going to be how we visited people and communicated. There was a vision for the metaverse. He spent billions and billions of dollars pouring it into the metaverse, even though it wasn't profitable, even though people weren't integrating it into their lives fast enough for what they were projecting as like people who had people to answer to, shareholders to answer to and stuff like that. Like, he still went all in, and then he did that product rollout. Showing, and look. He tried. Mark Zuckerberg, if you're not aware, does do an imitation of like a person you would talk to. Like, it's almost good. He does as good of an imitation of like a regular person as he can, and then he tried to do that for the rollout. So the day came. He was going to showcase the metaverse, the way of the future, right? And he comes out and he does his best imitation of like a guy. You saw it. You can go back and watch it. He's like, hey, everyone. It's nice to be here today with you. I want to introduce you to the metaverse. And what better way than meeting the version of you that would be in the metaverse? Come on out, Mark. And then the metaverse like avatar of Mark Zuckerberg walks up and does a way better imitation of a guy. You know, because he's like, come on out, Mark. And then a Zuckerberg dressed exactly like him does walk up and go, how's it going? It's like, why don't you say hello to everyone? And you saw Meta Mark be like, what are you doing? You're making us look bad right now. Because these things are supposed to be the future, and you look at how we've been working our way up to this point. Because we're not talking about like a Roomba. You know, a Roomba. That felt like what future robots should be. Do you know what I mean? Just like doing the function. It's small. It gets into the little space. Every once in a while, it like runs into the wall hard enough that you gotta just redirect it. Do you know what I mean? Like you feel like, okay, if your Roomba ever really like tried to square up. Do you know what I mean? Like if your Roomba was ever really feeling froggy one day and got some attitude with you, you could be like, okay, all right. Problem solved. I don't know why you built this full-on robot butler with knuckles. Full of knuckles. Knuckles and like, okay. It's not like, I saw the back of the robot. And it's not, you remember action figures when you were a kid? And how they were just sort of flat and the leg could just like perfectly go up and then down and then like perfectly up and then down. I don't know what the function is because once again, I'm not an engineer. I don't work in tech. I don't act like I'm smarter than any of these people, all right? All these people came together, made this robot. Look, you can make a robot, I can't make a robot. But turned around, this robot is like, it's not at a BBL level, but like this robot is like fully caked up. Like it has cheeks. It has cheeks that are like visible, but like that's just the robot. You know what I mean? Like it's not like it has cheeks and it's like wearing clothes. Like it's just the robot, which means y'all made the cheeks. Somebody made cheeks. That doesn't feel wild to anybody else that somebody made cheeks specifically. And then when they build a product like this, when you have a robot, when it's time to you building a robot, right? Everybody's gotta have something to do. Because you want to do everything, right? You want to walk, and you want to not fall over or bump into walls. Okay, get the kicking guy. Kicking guy is gonna make sure that your robot doesn't just fall over. He's gonna kick it 10,000 times, really make a friend. And then you're gonna need somebody on head duty to make sure it like is going forward, not drooping, whatever. You gotta get somebody on neck, make sure it turns around and stuff. It just makes me wonder if
This robot make me wonder if there was just somebody that they didn't trust with the math. They didn't trust with the math, so that they were like, hey, we'll let you design whatever part you want. And he got all excited, and he came in on Monday. And he's like, I got perfect right here. And I guess nobody wanted to hurt his feelings. They over there in the boardroom talking about, I guess it's padding technically if it ever does fall, like in a disaster. And so then they set this prototype out with like a real butt. Rest of it does not look real at all, by the way. This is crazy. It's crazy because then they have the person, whenever they do any product rollout, they do like a Q&A, or they do a test in front of an audience, or if it's like a pre-tape thing, they'll have somebody there asking questions that obviously the public would ask. And and so this person's asking questions like, how strong is it? And it's like, oh, it's very strong. It has all of this like power per square inch, however they measure it, right? And they gave it like, I don't know, was it a chestnut or a walnut or something like that? But they were like, can you go ahead and break this? Because, you know, once again, if you ever watched a sci-fi movie, that should be dust immediately. That should be, the robot should be able to be like, you know? And so they, you know, went ahead and gave the robot this nut to break. And the robot was like, and I didn't see it break it. I was like, all right, that actually puts me at a little bit of ease. Like, genuinely, it does. It's like, okay, you know, I thought for it to have fingers, it has palms, it has fingers, knuckles. It's nice to know that if the robot try to punch you, it's gonna be like, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of nice to know this robot can only kill you if you already dying. Do you know what I mean? Like, it could squeeze a pillow just enough. Because to a certain degree, this is supposed to be the future, right? The future is supposed to be as convenient as possible. Absolute convenience, so you get your time back, and so your life won't be as hard. Here's the thing, though. Like, I'm gonna stay on this thing probably for years, because products like this keep coming out. This is my thing. If you've ever met somebody who's had a very easy life, very convenient life, that has never really been through anything, has never had like an obstacle in their way, they almost always, without a doubt, suck. Like really bad. Like these are the worst people in the world. Like, when you meet them, you're like, that's terrible. That's terrible. And you find out because you're always there when the first thing that has ever happened to them happens to them. The first time anything has ever happened to them, it happens in front of you. And then you're like, all right, well, let's figure it out because you've been through things. This doesn't even register for you. This is like a 5 for them on the Richter scale of an earthquake, and their life is over. You know what I mean? They got a flat tire. And life is over. They're not in the city right now, and they have a flat tire. What should they do? I guess they have to die here. See, they've never really been through anything, and anything that almost happened to them, they got to ask their parents to take care of it, and their parents took care of it, or they just played dumb until somebody else did something about it, and now, in this moment, what a terrible career-ending day. You got a flat tire. What are you gonna do? What's the plan here? And they panic. They want to call their parents to do something about it, but their parents are... Yeah, I mean, their parents are... Like, you know... They want to call their parents, but they can't because their parents are vacationing in Greece. And so it's like... They might not even have service on the boat. Like, it's just... What am I gonna do? Never been through anything in their entire life. What am I gonna do? They look to you. And they're like, this has never happened before. It's the worst thing that's ever happened. We're on our way to vacation and catch a flat tire. What are we gonna do? And you're like, oh, do you have a spare? And you hear them say, is that what that is back there? I knew it came with the car, but I expected it to just turn on one day or something. It's just been back there not being a wheel this entire time. You know, and if they didn't have you there, I don't know what they would do. And so we want these lives of convenience. We want these lives where everything is out of our way, where nothing that we don't want to do takes up any time. But then what kind of person does that make you? I'm not saying it's fun to do all your chores or wait in line, but it is a human experience. This is your life, you know? Sometimes there are things that genuinely suck. I've been at the airport before for 36 hours. There was one time I was at the airport and I couldn't get out, and then here's the thing, if I decided to live there, I could have left. But I have been kept on such a Ferris wheel of mistakes, canceled flights, delayed flights, and just general annoying small tragedies that I just ended up staying in the airport. I almost slept at that airport twice, right? But at the same time, I had a lot of good experiences, even in that time, even when I was waiting. Turns out that airport did have pretty good food, so I ate very well for the few meals I could muster. Already a bathroom there. I can get adventurous. I'm just saying, sometimes people at airports will sell you like tiny spicy chicken or something like that, and you're like, all right, I'll just have it, not realize it. Like, it is spicy, and there is a bathroom on the plane, but like, traveling spicy hit different, you know what I mean? Like, it just, if you traveling spicy, it's doing something to your life you're not ready for. There's nothing like being in a car and you traveling spicy. And now you looking at exits. Every exit, you're like... No, you know when you traveling spicy, you gotta breathe it out. No, traveling spicy is very dangerous. And I was able to do it. But that's the thing, is it,
when things are happening that are inconvenient or even terrible, and they're happening, they're part of your life. You can either just hate your life, or you could be like, this is my life for a little while. You know? Anyone who always wants, this is gonna sound harsh, but just hear me out. Because I have friends who every single inconvenience, they just want to be over already. And I'm like, okay, but if you tried to speed run every single thing that ever happened that was not convenient, do you know how little life you would have? Your life would be over so quickly. Your life would be over if you were like, oh, I just want to get out of this conversation. I just want to get out of this. I just want to get out of this line. I just want to get out of this airport. I just want to. And you're missing your entire life. You know? Oh, I just want to get out of this conversation. What if they're about to say something dope? You know what I mean? What if they're about to say something very cool? What if they're about to say, wow, you're such a good listener. Almost nobody listens to my stories. You want to chill at my vacation house? What if that was just about to happen? And now you can cut the thing short just because they were going on and on about whales. This is your life, you know? All of it is precious, even the inconvenient parts. Because that's the thing, that's all they can really sell you. They can sell you a little less inconvenience. They can't sell you ending your pain. They cannot sell you ending your loneliness. All of the things that matter, all the real things that are real struggles that people go through that actually end up making them very interesting people that you would want to get to know and spend time with. None of these tech people can cure that anyway. So then they're trying to sell you the little bit of convenience that maybe will make you feel like, oh, if I got all this time back, what does time back even mean? What does time back really mean? If you were at your home washing dishes, maybe, look, nobody likes washing dishes. I don't know if anybody likes washing dishes. It's old food, it's kind of nasty. You're like, what did I even have? What did I eat that sticks to the bowl like this? Because whatever that is in me. Is it sticking to me the way it's sticking to the bowl? That's crazy. I don't know if I'll ever get rid of this. If I can't get rid of the stain, then, ooh, my insides are stained right now. Sure. But I think it is such an important practice to appreciate all of these moments in your life. So often, we're trying to be distracted from the thing that if we focused on, we might enjoy. Because I'm not saying all of a sudden you'll love washing the dishes, but I think while you're washing the dishes and while you're sitting there thinking, maybe thinking about your day, maybe thinking about nothing, maybe thinking about the dishes, you could come potentially to an appreciation of the fact that you have a home. You have a home where you can cook your meals. You have dishes. You have dishes that you can use to serve your family, food that you worked for, that maybe something good can come of it, you know? Because this robot, I don't know. It's so expensive. It's so crazy expensive. Like it's so much money. Why don't you just hire a person? You could hire a person. If you have robot money and you've never seen any sci-fi, still hire a person. You could watch movies with your butler. You can make that one of the jobs. I need you to do windows, floors, and hang out. Like I do need a friend. I've been very lonely. It's incredibly important to not take for granted all those things that even though they're inconvenient, they're a part of your life, you know? I've made friends doing things I didn't want to do. Like there were moments where I was like, oh, this thing is taking up my time. Or maybe I'm delayed. You know, sometimes you get delayed, whether it's the train, it's the airport, you're waiting on a bus, you get delayed. And you don't want to be delayed. You want to get where you're going. That's why you want to go there. I understand. But everyone's delayed. It's the same problem everyone has. And everyone having the same problem is one of the fastest ways to build community. You know? Because now everybody's upset that you're delayed. And there's always that one person that isn't traveling with anyone, so they kick it off for everybody. I'm sure they seem upset. They seem upset. But I think they're having this outburst because they don't have anybody to turn to be like, can you believe? So then they turn to you. Can you believe? They turned to me and they were like, can you believe? And I was like, no, I do believe. Like, I don't think they would do it as a prank. Like, I do believe them when they say it's not here yet, because I also looked out the window and it's not here yet. And I don't think they, like, hide in it. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be a very bad prank to be like, we gonna tell them the flight not coming. You know how people love that, right? Like, that's one of my favorite things. I can't believe they didn't do that on Punk'd. I can't believe that Ashton Kutcher didn't delay a whole flight just so that people could be like, and then, no, it's fine. It's fine, it'll be okay. It'll be all right. You know? And she was like, yeah, maybe if it gets here, you know, it'll be all right. But it'll be all right. I was like, well, what is it? What's wrong? What's wrong? She's like, I have somewhere to be. I'm supposed to meet my grandbaby. I'm supposed to meet my grandbaby, right? And immediately I had more empathy for where she was coming from, because she wasn't just upset that the flight was delayed because she likes being a problem. She is a grandbaby to me. I've never had a grandbaby to meet, but I imagine if I did, I would be in a hurry. I have a grandbaby to me. I was like, oh, really? You have a grandbaby? How old? And she's like, she was born 3 days ago. I was like, wow. 3 days ago, okay. It does sound like you got plenty of time to get over there, because 3 is, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, like, she knew, like that. You know what I mean? Like, she got a whole life ahead of her, and I think it'll be fine, you know. I was like, do you have any pictures? And she was like, oh, do I have pictures? And then she showed me pictures of her brand new grandbaby, and it was incredibly sweet. We just sat there at the gate. I didn't even mention to her that I had been at this airport for 32 hours. She was showing me pictures of her grandbaby. It was incredible. I just think that a lot of things could be missed out on, you know, with this robot, because even the duties, even the stuff that it's supposed to do, that's stuff that would be great to do with your people. You want this thing to cook for you or whatever, why don't you invite your friends over? You have a meal together. That's a memory. Now you're not like laying in front of the TV waiting for this robot to finish. A robot, by the way, that if it came down to some nuts in the dish, because even in the product rollout, they had this, I guess they had this journalist ask the questions we would ask. And so one of the questions was, well, how do I know, you know, you say this robot can lift whatever, like 150 pounds over its head. How do I know that it's not gonna kill me in my sleep? If you're worried that your black robot is gonna kill you in your sleep, Do you know? I tell you right now, I'm not a scientist. I'm not into tech like that. I'm not an engineer. I don't. The number one way to not have your black robot kill you in your sleep is to not have a black robot in your house at all.